That's love. I
For
need to
sure.
get me one, bro. I need to get a speed bag and a heavy bag.
Yeah, man. But I go to UFC though. You know what I mean? So they be having them lined up over there. So I just use theirs and everything. They got the octagon and all that. So it's really nice.
That's what's good.
Nice.
So
Yes.
you
For
train? You
sure.
pretty much you into training and everything?
I mean, I'm getting back into it. I ain't gonna cap, man. Like I really was big on like hiking the last few years, but like as far as like physically training my body, like I was doing mostly calisthenics for a while, like push ups, sit ups, pull ups, stuff like that. But now I'm getting back into like actual weights and like boxing and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like really,
Yeah.
really weaponizing this vessel. You know?
Crucial, brother, especially these days and time. So what's the
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
climate like politically in Hawaii? Like in terms of,
So 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 the last couple of days, it's been kind of like raining on and off. You know what I mean? But like even like right now, it's like 81 degrees. You know what I mean? So it ain't bad. It ain't bad. You know what I
well, I
mean?
mean like
So,
politically though. What's it like politically?
oh, politically,
Yeah. Do you feel like a big divide? Is there like tension there, or is it pretty much,
yeah. A lot of people entertain that stuff out here. You know what I mean? It's a lot of you get a lot of the Trumpers, and then you get a lot of the Trumper thumpers. You know, and then you get a lot
yeah.
of the and then you get a lot of the blue collars too. You know what I mean? So the blue
Okay.
corner. The demos or
I
demons.
get it.
Okay. You
I
know,
get it,
so
bro.
demon
I get it.
cracks. So
I
you get
get
both
it. That's
sides of it.
crazy. Yeah, they just divide and conquer, bro. And we just like sheep
Facts.
just
Yeah.
going right into the
Sleep
stupidity.
sheep to the slaughter.
Deep
Yep.
to the slaughter. Yep, I was just about to say that. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Facts.
the thing is like they got two witnesses of the blind leading them. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Yeah.
one is that their side's the truth, the other teaching that their side's the truth. It's like both of them leading them to the ditch.
Yep. Facts.
Wow, bro.
That's the great okey doke is that they thinking them jokers is separate.
Yeah,
You feel what
yeah,
I'm saying?
exactly, exactly.
They on the same team.
Yep, it's two wings to the same Baphomet, bro.
Yeah.
My
Facts.
goodness. That's crazy, yo. It's crazy.
That's what it
Anyway,
is, man. And none of this, and that's why I be telling people, I'm like, man, like when you read in the scriptures, show me a part where like Yahusha or Yahweh Shai went to go vote for Caesar or vote for Herod. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
seriously.
you ain't see him going to the poll tables, like, you know what I mean? I think I'm gonna go with polite this time, you know?
yeah.
I don't
You
know.
know what he said though, right? He was like, "Hey, let me see that coin."
Yeah,
He said,
yeah,
"Who takes on this coin?" Caesar.
Yep.
Okay, give
Yep.
Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
yep,
But give
Yep.
Elohim what belongs to Elohim. Like that's the
yep.
clearest divide that could ever have been made. Like if you ain't got no business with Caesar, what do you
Right,
got to give to Caesar?
Yeah.
right.
Facts.
Exactly.
But
Exactly. And that's where the real voting comes in at. You know what I mean? If you're gonna vote,
yeah.
you better
Yeah.
either vote, you better vote Caesar, you better vote Yah. Don't be in the middle.
Facts.
You
That's
know
all
what
I
I mean?
tell people. I said I voted for Yahoo Shah. I ain't voted for none of these crazy jokers.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Like
I
all
said
day,
we
bro.
responsible. I think it's funny too because didn't y'all say that when it was asking for the first king that you be responsible for all the decisions that them jokers make?
Mm-hmm.
You be blood guilty with them.
Yep.
You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so
You will take
that's the
advantage of
wild
your
part
children.
is that we yep facts
And that was
100%.
the whole that
You
was the
see
whole
that from every
scenario.
king forward. Every
No, go ahead, go ahead. Sorry.
no,
I,
go ahead.
I had cut you off, my bad.
Oh no, you good. You good. I was done. Yeah, no, I was done, bro. Go ahead.
So check this
No,
verse out,
I was
right?
just gonna say with
I'm
Saul, you
sorry.
know, Saul was a good example, you know what I mean? Because like it was like the people couldn't like teamwork anything, you know what I mean? It was like, oh no, we need
Hmm.
a man to be in position. We need a physical being that we can see that's our king and our head and our leader, you know what I mean? And then later on,
Yeah,
Yahuwah like tells them, you know what I mean? Like, well, y'all the ones that requested a king, you know what I mean? And look at the results of y'all labor.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh,
So
Serious,
okay.
serious.
So go
This
ahead,
is this
Mikael,
is
my bad.
this is this is what we forget a lot. And this is from Yeshayahu 33. It says in Hebrew, Ki Yahuwah Shefatenu, Yahuwah Malchenu, Yahuwah Malkenu, Hu Yoshienu. So really it says Yah shall be our judge, Shefatenu, Shafat judge, Yahuwah Malchenu. This is our lawgiver. He gives us our laws. Yahuwah Malkenu. right? He is our king. Who Yoshianu? He saves us. But Shifatenu, this is where you're dealing with the judicial branch, the judges, right? You have here the Hukenu, the legislative branch, and then Malchenu is the executive branch. And Yah is the one who delivers us. So when you look at this, Yah plays all three parts of any particular government, which has a judicial, legislative, and an executive branch.
Yep.
Yah comprises all of that for us.
Yep.
And this is so clear what Yeshayahu was telling us. And that Yah, most importantly, Yoshianu. Who Yoshianu? He is the one who delivers us. Right?
Yep.
But we have to make sure we are in allegiance to Yah. We can't be in allegiance with anything else and think that Yah is going to be our judge, our legislator, our judicial branch, our legislative branch, and our executive branch. If we given our loyalty and allegiance to someone else,
Yep.
it ain't gonna happen. Choose you this day who you shall serve. That's for me in
Yep.
my house. Period.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah.
So tonight
Facts.
in Mishneh Torah, by Moshe ben Maimon, aka Rambam or Maimonides, we're dealing with what's called Sefer Tahorah. And so Tahorah comes from the word tahur, which means clean. So as we're going through this, we want to keep in mind, this is teaching us how to be pure, unblemished, unalloyed, unadulterated, to shine with brightness. Whatever is coupled with the illumination of mind as belonging to life. This is what tahor means. Whatever is coupled with the illumination of mind as belonging to life. Literally, it is an association and an arrangement of light according to the mastery of thought. Look at that. An association and arrangement of light according to the mastery of thought. This is what it means to be tahor, right? These are the animals that you bring to the altar. If they're brought to the altar, they better be taharot. They better be pure. They better be clean. So this is also us when we come before Abba. It is, again, an association, arrangement of light according to the mastery of thought, comprised of the letter coupled with mountain. To be clean is to join inseparably all components of the illumination of Mashiach's mind. With the value of 214, tahor also implies mastery that gives access. Access to what? Shekhinah. Because what is the tahor korban about? The clean offerings are about drawing close to the presence of Yah. That's what the korban notes are for. And if you bring in a korban, it better be tahor. So is anybody able to read for us the Book of Purity, Bavakashah?
I'm
In
still
Hebrew. No, I'm
driving.
playing. We can read it in English. Somebody can read us the Book of Purity. That would be great. Shalom Aleichem to everybody in YouTube world.
I'll go ahead and read
Shabbat,
it.
Erev, Shalom. You got it up?
Yeah. Hallelujah. Sefer HaTorah. Oh, Sefer Tahara, Book of Purity. Its groups of laws are 8, treated in the following order: laws concerning defilement by a dead body, laws concerning the red heifer, laws concerning the uncleanness of leprosy, laws concerning defilement of a couch or a seat, laws concerning the other original sources of defilement, laws concerning defilement of foods, laws concerning vessels, laws concerning ritual baths, laws concerning defilement by a body. These are compromised in one affirmative precept, namely that relating to the defilement by a dead body. Laws concerning the red heifer. These comprise 2 affirmative precepts: the red heifer, the uncleanliness of the waters of sprinkling, and of the mold in which these are to be used for purification. Laws concerning the uncleanness of leprosy. These comprise 8 precepts, of which 6 are affirmative and 2 are negative precepts. Their detailed enumeration is as follows: to give decisions on leprosy in human beings according to the rules prescribed in the Torah, not to cut away the marks pointing to uncleanness, not to shave the skull, that the leper shall be recognized as such by rendering his garments, allowing his hair to go loose, and covering of the lips. The prescribed rules for the cleansing of leprosy, that the leper shall shave all his hair when he is clean. The law of leprosy of a garment, the law of leprosy of a house. Laws concerning defilement of a couch or of a seat. These comprise 4 affirmative precepts. Their detailed enumeration is as follows: the law of defilement of a menstruous woman, the law of defilement of a woman in childbirth, the law of defilement of a woman with a running issue, the law of defilement of a man with a running issue. Laws of other original sources of defilement. These comprise 3 affirmative precepts. Their detailed enumeration is as follows: the law of defilement of that which died of itself, the law of defilement of creeping things, vermin, the law of defilement of seminal issue. An idol defiles to the same degree as a creeping thing. This defilement by an idol was instituted by the scribes. Laws of defilement of foods. These are comprised in 1 precept set forth in the laws concerning the defilements of liquids and of solid foods, and the precedent condition which makes it possible for them to become defiled. Laws of vessels. These laws enable one to know which vessels contract defilement in any of the degrees above noted, and which do not become defiled, and likewise how these vessels become defiled or cause defilement. Laws concerning ritual baths. These are comprised in 1 affirmative precept, that whoever is unclean shall immerse his body in the waters of a ritual bath, and then he will be clean. All the precepts comprised in this book are thus 20, of which 18 are affirmative precepts and 2 are negative precepts. Hallelujah.
And I just want to kind of just clarify what he's doing is giving us an overview of what Sefer Tahora actually is comprised of. So these are not specifics here. These are just generalities and giving us an idea of what is required of us to be pure in the eyes of Yah. Not in our eyes, but in the eyes of Yah, right? And so here there's 8 laws that are concerning Tehorot, or being pure, right? And so when we deal with this, the dead body, right? That's the first one. Shabbat Erev Shalom, Moreh Chasarabah. We're dealing with Sefer Tahora, the law of purity, the book of purity. And these are the we were just going over, these are the instructions in general form. He hasn't gone into the depths of these yet, but he's just going over an overview of what the laws are and how they pertain to our purity. And of course, we just dealt with this relative to the Nazir, the Nazarite, Shabbat Erev Shalom Moreh Elihu. And so with the laws concerning defilement by a dead body, we know that the Kohanim, particularly the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, and the Nazir, are unable to come near dead bodies. Now, what's so interesting about the difference between the Kohen Gadol and the Nazir is unable to go to anybody's yard site service. The Kohen Gadol can go to their next of kin, like their mother, their father, their wife, their sister, if she's not married, and their brother. The Kohen Gadol can do that. They can defile themselves for that. The Nazir cannot defile himself for the sake of anybody. It doesn't matter. The Nazir, under that vow, is unable to enter into any tent or go where any dead body is at all, unless that vow will come to an immediate end, and they got to shave their head. The Kohen Gadol, however, is able to do so just for those specific ones. But what we always want to keep in mind, and feel free to interject at any time, is that dead bodies do not always imply somebody that is physically dead. This is what we have to understand, and this is what the soul revelation of the Pardes is really pointing to. We can't be around dead people spiritually. You think of that movie, what was that? Sixth Sense? That little boy, I see dead people. There's dead people all around us. And the idea is for us to not be in that presence if we can control that by any means possible. Why? Because that will cause spiritual defilement. These laws typically were relative to us having access to the Mishkan and to the Mikdash, to the tabernacle and to the temple, so that we could be ritually tahor, pure, right? But the idea and what it is ultimately pointing to is the internal state of being so that Yah can enter into our temple. Ultimately, that's what it's pointing to, right? That's the law of correspondence there, the as above, so below, the as within, so without. So this is what this is corresponding to. Any thoughts regarding defilement by their body? All right. Following that, interestingly, is the law of the red heifer. Okay.
I was gonna say something. My bad. I just had to get.
Come on, Aki. Yes, sir.
You know, this is like one of those things that's in the Brit Kadashah that and I was just asked to get y'all opinion on it. And I may have missed it if you mentioned it, but when Yeshua said, "Let the dead bury their dead,"
Oh, yeah, he did.
and but then we know he's talking about somebody who's alive, so let the dead bury their dead. So
My mama.
I feel like that always ties into the, like you said, the correspondence of not dealing with those who are unclean or impure, like they're still living in a dead state. Because Torah is life. So if you're not living according to Torah, you're really living in a dead state.
There it is. Draw it out. Told out for that.
Hallelujah.
Yes, sir.
Ligas,
That's come on, Aki.
hey, Shabbat Shalom Lekulam.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yeshayahu 8 and 19.
Wow.
Now should people say to you, inquire of the ghosts and familiar spirits that chirp and moan, for people may inquire of his divine beings, of the dead on behalf of the living, for instruction and message. Surely for those who speak thus there shall be no done. I know Ben Ami had wrote extensively in in the God, the Black Man, the Truth about that interpretation that you gave concerning what dead is insinuating. And remember in the Torah and Wayikra chapter 19 as well as that was Leviticus 20. Wayikra 20 and Devarim 18 where it mentioned not to consult with mediums and familiar spirits. His interpretation even extended to like news outlets. It's a medium for communication for dead people. People who not living, people who not alive. They go with the flow of the matrix. They go with the algorithm. Those people dead. They can't speak for themselves. They mute. Oh, look. Right when you got it up
NPCs.
there, mute. That's wild. Okay, so it say to die, to withdraw from mercy and renewal. Dead, a state of pestilence, destruction, slumbering, powerlessness. So look, what are your Keskel 37? And when Hakadosh Baraku told him to speak to the bones.
Breathe.
Oh, look at that. Verse 3. I was asked, oh mortal, can these bones live again? I replied, "Oh, my sovereign power, only you know." But we know he went, that was a Tanakh prophecy concerning Yisrael.
Mhm.
What is verse 4? It say, "And I was told, prophesy over these bones and say to them, O dry bones, hear the word of Yah. Thus said the sovereign power to these bones, I will cause breath to enter you, and you shall live again." So we see here what dead is insinuating in this particular sense. So yeah, like you say, even with the Nazarites and the Nazarene and the Kohanim who couldn't approach dead bodies, this may be even just referring to their seclusion away from anything that's not life-giving in general.
Okay. And if I could add on what you're saying, the word that's usually describing that is the word nefesh. If we could go to, I think it's Leviticus 21. I think when it's describing those things, it uses the word nefesh. So we know it's like dealing with somebody with like a dead soul. She shall not defile herself. Right there, you can read the first verse. Right there it says, you see that le nefesh. Right there at the top left, it said le nefesh lo. It says Elohim spoke to Moses, speak to the priests, the sons of Aaron, and say to them, none shall defile himself for any dead person among his kin. Defile himself for any person. See, they even showing that the word dead is inserted there, except for the relatives that are close to him, his mother, his father, his son, his daughter, his brother, and also his virgin sister, close to him, because she has not become someone's wife. But my point of saying that was with the word nefesh, it insinuates just more than just a literal dead body, like a dead soul, like somebody's soul that's not alive. As saying you don't defile yourself or anything like that. And I feel like the defilement comes in when you're no longer the one bringing light to the situation, because that's what we're supposed to do, bring light to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So let's connect it, right? On top of that, anything that is not tahor is actually dead. Anything that is not pure, anything that is not in the mind of Mashiyach, it tells us what the definition of the tahor was, being the mind of the Messiah in so many words. That's death, right? But what Yehezkel, I'm glad you brought Yehezkel 37 up, Morielli, who is because what does Yehezkel 37 imply? It implies Techiyet Hamatim,
Yeah,
the
take it.
resurrection of the dead.
Mm.
It implies the resurrection of the dead. But how does the resurrection of the dead even take place in Yehezkel 37?
Through the word, through the spirit
Through
of
the
Mashiach.
word,
I bet.
through the prophecy of his servants, the revelation of the will of Yah, the proclamation of Teshuvah, right? So that they can live, turn back and live. So if we are around the dead, it is our responsibility to raise the dead so that we are not defiled. But if that dead doesn't rise, then we do separate and pull ourselves away from that.
You dust your sandals off and you keep moving.
Period.
Mhm.
Whatever city you're going to, offer it your shalom. If they don't receive your shalom, we'll shake the dust off you. And it will be worse for them than it was for Sodom and Gomorrah.
Go by God. Bevakusha. Okay. No, to verse 1. To okay, I had to reread that. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe Amor el Hakohanim b'nei Aharon ve'amarta alehem lenefesh. Right. Mishpat, that would have said leguf if it was definitely referring
Body.
to body. Yeah, leguf.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying it said that in the fish. And then
So
that's how you know it's more than just a person, it's the soul. But a person is dead without a soul. You know what I'm saying? So not that you can go that route, but soul, the soul of the person you're dealing with.
Nefesh. Ooh.
look at
By the
that.
way, did y'all see the woman Chaya Lev when she was on that debate earlier this week? She was the one that was on the Jewish side, all the way to the far right. The
Yeah. With the
Igbo African
pink
woman from
braids.
Jerusalem. Yeah. I like her explanation of Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama. She said Nefesh is like a car, Ruach is like the driver, and Neshama is like the GPS.
Mm-hmm.
That was so far. It's different from the other explanations I've heard.
Interesting. Wow.
Because you
The
could be
fetch is
driving
the
with no
car.
GPS. I'm talking
Ruach.
about
You said
Ruach.
what's the driver?
Ruach is the driver. Cause that
Wow.
wind, that Ruach, it drive your emotions, it drive your mood.
Okay.
And
Yeah, it
then
does.
the Neshama, the
Neshama
highest part of your soul is the
is the
GPS.
GPS, the
Track.
guidance.
Yeah, the guidance.
Mm.
And that's what's smoky about it too, because you could be driving with no GPS and just ride till you ain't got no more gas.
My mama. Now
Which a
keep
lot
in
of people
mind,
do that, right?
they
Say
do.
it again.
They do. And keep in mind, those are still on the human level. That's not even on the level of Elohim yet. Right? Because now you got to go to Chaya to be Elohim conscious. And then you got to get to Yehidah.
Mm-hmm.
There's 5 levels of soul. Those are just 3 levels.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times we stay stuck in the first 2. We barely get to Neshama. Humanity barely gets to the level of guidance. Now, we got physical awareness, we got emotional awareness, but how many of us really have a true intellectual, intuitive, and imaginative awareness? Awareness. And then, even fewer of us get into an Elohim awareness, and even fewer of us become one with Elohim. But those are the 5 levels that are available to humanity, to Homo sapiens. Who's supposed to be wise beings, wise humans. That's what that word means. A wise human. So it's interesting you say that.
Venice.
That's what we got to get to. And that's where you Yehidah. But let's do this. Continue reading this out. Can you continue reading this death? Because this is something to really lock in on as a antithesis to what it means to be pure and clean. Death is the exact opposite, the extreme opposite of purity.
So we got, after powerlessness, you got to draw out of the containment of the composite whole creation, a transformation, an outpouring that administers regeneration to be extended. Unalivement will be no more when there is no longer need to be extended, unfolded, when fully extended. When all has been born from the inner womb of life in every person, there will be no more mortal birthing and dying. A continuation of cleansing contractions and expansions. Immortal, die not.
There will be no more death when there is no longer need to be extended or unfolded. When fully extended, when all has been born from the inner womb, is what Mashiyach says. No one shall see the kingdom unless they be born again. Right? In every person, when the inner womb of life is born in every person, there will be no more mortal birthing and dying. That's when you got that homo divinus right there. Huh? But see, this is where sinlessness comes into the equation. Sinlessness is what leads us to deathlessness. We can't die if we are in sin. We cannot. And that's what this is pointing to. Those things that are unclean, according to what Yah say, not according to what we think and what we feel and what we believe and what we know. No, what Yah say. If Yah say it's unclean, it's unclean. Whose responsibility is it to teach what is clean and unclean?
The priest.
The Kohanim. What is Israel a kingdom of?
A kingdom of priests.
Kingdom of
Kohanim. What are we supposed to be doing? Teaching the world, starting with ourselves, but teaching the world the difference between tahor and tamah. Between clean and unclean.
Ve'or.
Say that again.
Koshek ve'or. Yom ve'la'ila.
Darkness and light. Yes, sir. Very much so. We're supposed to teach the world that, Craig. That's what we're supposed to do. So this is essential. But defilement is anything that is unclean. Dead is anything outside of Torah, outside the mind of Mashiyach, outside the mind of Yah. Mashiyach
And
is the Torah fulfilled. Let's bear that in mind. The Messianic mind is the fulfillment and embodiment of Torah. Why does the red heifer come right after defilement of a dead body? Why does the red heifer fall next in this particular treatise?
That'll be the purification of a place. But
But what does the red heifer deal with particularly?
the temple, Beit HaMikdash.
Okay. But when those waters of the red heifer are used, what is it used to atone for? What is it used to clean?
the people in the midst of the week at their mourning after death, those who've been defiled by the dead body. It's been
Right
like
there,
the third day of the
right
week.
there, right there, right? That is part. What part is that? That's in the midbar, right?
Yeah, it's in numbers, like numbers.
We're not
I
in
get
that
it.
chapter yet. It's in the
Oh,
next parsha, I think. We haven't gone over the have we gone over the red heifer yet?
no, we haven't went over yet. It's in like mid numbers. It's in mid bar.
Right here. Instruct the Israelite people to bring you a red cow without blemish. I don't know why I be doing without the source. Quit playing. To bring you a red cow without blemish, in which there is no defect and on which no yoke has been laid. You shall give it to Eleazar the priest. It shall be taken outside the camp and slaughtered in his presence. Eleazar the priest shall take some of its blood with his finger and sprinkle it 7 times toward the front of the tent of meeting. The cow shall be burned in his sight. Its hide, flesh, and blood shall be burned, its dung included. And the priest shall take cedar wood, hyssop, and crimson stuff and throw them into the fire, consuming the cow. And the priest shall wash his garments and bathe in water. After that, the priest may re-enter the camp, but he shall be impure until evening. The one who performed the burning shall also wash their garments in water, bathe, and be impure until evening. Someone else who is pure shall gather up the ashes of the cow and deposit them outside the camp in a pure place. To be kept for water of lustration for the Israelite community, it is for purgation. The one who gathers up the ashes of the cow shall also wash their clothes and be impure until evening. This shall be a permanent law for the Israelites and for the strangers who reside among them. Anyone who touches the corpse of any human being shall be impure for 7 days. They shall undergo cleansing with the ashes on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, and then be tahor, yitahar, right? Then be pure. If they fail to undergo cleansing on the 3rd and 7th day, they shall not be pure. This is what this is about. It says, when whoever touches a corpse, the body of a dead person who has died and does not undergo cleansing, defiles Elohim's Mishkan. The person shall be cut off from Israel. Since the water of lustration was not dashed on them, they remain impure. Their impurity is still on them. This is why in Mishneh Torah, defilement of a dead body is mentioned first, then comes the red heifer, because Yah always has a remedy for us to be put back in alignment with the will of Yah. There's always a remedy. There will always be a rectification. Galatians 2:20, dying to self and true life through Mashiyach. Amen. And that's the death that we all must undergo. That's dying to our ego, to our carnality, to the flesh. Basar. Isn't it interesting that flesh is bazar in Hebrew? Bazar, right? Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm following you.
Yep. So the laws comprising, or the laws regarding the red heifer are 2, that we carry out the red heifer, and then the uncleanness of the waters, the sprinkling, and the mode under which these are to be used for purification. So we just read that in the midbar in Parsha Huchat. Come on, Aki Ben Yahoo. Did you want to say something up? No worries, no worries. Anything else with the Parah Edumah?
Mm, not at the moment. I had to get some more stuff.
Leprosy. Again, what is the cause, scripturally speaking, of
But I will say one thing that I'm thinking about it though,
yes, sir.
because it's dealing with a cleansing after a third day, dealing with water, which in our case would be the living water. So after the third day, was it in Hosea? In 2 days,
Yeah,
and
Hosea
then be
6.
revived. Yeah, then be revived in the third day. We see that. We see that's relating to all of Israel, but we know that Mashiyach is the representation of Israel. It's gonna, because whatever Israel gonna go through, Mashiyach goes through it too. Just as we seen with David, like even when going out, let me just say it like this: when we see the heifer on the third day bringing a mode of cleansing, and then it speaks on the seventh day, everything being back pure again. I just see a foreshadowing picture of what Mashiyach is supposed to do for Israel, like you said, with the reviving of everything, and just being a representation of that red heifer that's being mentioned right there is what I would say about it.
You want to read Hosea 1 and 2?
Yeah, I'll read it. Hallelujah. Come, let us turn back to Yah, the one who attacked and so can heal us, who wounded and so can bind us up. In 2 days, Elohim will make us whole again, and on the third day, raise us up. Elohim's favor will make us whole.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. Like from his favor, he gave us a red heifer to help make us whole again too, when we were in a dead state.
Mm-hmm.
Because to become defiled by a dead body makes you dead like it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the things that we attach ourselves to, it makes us become one with it. So even when in the case of Mashiyach, if you attach yourself to him, you can become as Mashiyach in the same way. So that's all I was thinking about it.
And that. Torah Baki.
Hallelujah.
So now as we come to Zara'at, the uncleanness of leprosy. Again, what did our ancestors understand to be the cause of Zara'at?
Lashon Hara.
The evil tongue.
The evil tongue, yep.
Mm-hmm. So let's do this real quick. Torah's view of the cause of Zara'at. In the Torah, Zara'at, often translated as leprosy, described in Leviticus 13 and 14 and appears in various forms on the skin, clothing, or even walls. While the scriptures does not give a medical explanation for Zara'at, rabbinic and midrashic interpretations offer spiritual causes. Yes, sir. Come on, Ati Mishpat.
I was gonna wait for you to read it, but with that last
Okay.
line you just read is what
Uh-huh.
I was gonna speak on.
Okay. We'll come to that. We'll come to that.
Okay.
Spiritual cause, slander and sin. A central midrashic teaching is that Zara'at can be a consequence of slander, Lashan Hara. The idea is that when a person's speech harms others, the affliction may manifest as a leprosy on the skin, garments, or even the walls of their home. On the wall first, a sign of sin in the home. On the clothing next, if the sin continues, the affliction spreads outward. Now, this is about righteousness. Now, your actions are clearly laid out that you are not a righteous person. On the skin, if ignored, it becomes a dermatological condition. This reflects the belief that physical afflictions can be outcomes of spiritual neglect and wrongdoing. Symbolic and moral dimension. Rabbi Matiyahu Clark notes that Zara'at is not a contagious disease in the modern sense, and that the Torah's laws focus on social and ritual separation rather than public health measures. The affliction is seen as a divine response to moral failure, with the skin, the body's outermost layer, acting as a screen for social misdeeds. When the skin fails to alert the person to their wrongdoings, Zara'at appears. Examples: Miriam was struck with Zara'at for speaking against Moshe. King Uzziah was afflicted for pride and violating the Mikdash law, the temple's law. These cases shows Zara'at as a form of divine judgment for specific sins. Now, healing and restoration. While the Torah emphasizes diagnosis and purification, healing often comes through teshuvah, right? And avodah to Yah's will, service and obedience to Yah's will. For example, Naaman was healed after following Elisha's instructions to wash in the Jordan River, showing that Zara'at can be reversed through moral and spiritual change. In summary, in Torah thought, Zara'at is not just a skin disease, but a spiritual sign, often linked to slander and moral failure. Its cause is not medical, but moral. And its healing comes through teshuvah, guidance, there goes that GPS, that neshama, and alignment with Torah values, Selah. So the medical aspect, Lauren Mishpah is about to drop it. Let's see what you got to say, Aki.
Okay, can you repeat that one more time? You said the medical aspect?
I said, yeah, you're about to drop what the medical aspect is.
Okay. And this is what I was gonna say about it, right? Because this is something that I had spoke about before. So, like you said, a medical aspect, right? And my question always was, and they answered it, but is this a physical affliction or like a spiritual affliction? And the reason why we can highlight it to be a spiritual affliction is, first and foremost, it's the priest coming to check on it. Because we've been told in the Apocrypha to have respect towards the physician and towards those who do this type of work. But why isn't it a physician being sent to check on the leprosy? In a way, because it's not just it's not physical in it, it's all spiritual, which is why having the priest come in and examine it lets us know that this is spiritual over a physical disease that's going on. That's what I was saying about it, though.
Wow. Selah. So, though, as a physical disease, though, what, and actually, I think, like, during the times of scripture, like the scriptural time, like leprosy was different. A leper was different than what leprosy is today.
Mm.
More like vitiligo.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but leprosy, man, it was like a terminal disease, though, right? So it's the bacteria, mycobacterium. So Hansen's disease was not present during the biblical period. Zarat was a broad category of skin conditions that could also afflict clothing and houses, and it was judged primarily as ritual defilement. Chronic skin disorders, psoriasis, vitiligo, there you go, fungal infections, eczema, eczematoid dermatosis. It could be alopecia as well, and burns or boils. Is anything that turned the skin white, depigmentation, right? Chronic inflammatory skin disease, scaly patches, discoloration, tinea, and other dermatophytosis. Inflammatory skin conditions, of course, hair loss, boils, and burns. So these are the typical symptoms of Zara'at during biblical times. Other conditions of Zara'at were limbs falling off, death. This typically was not a death sentence. Leprosy in these times was not typically a death sentence, if I'm not mistaken. So
Nah.
that's something to take into account as well.
Did that article speak on why it was going with the Lashon Hara? Did it speak about Miriam?
It mentioned her. It did.
Okay.
So in the Jewish Encyclopedia, you're dealing with ulcerous eruptions and successive disquaintations of dead skin. The typical features were bright spots, bright white spots, or patches on the skin where the hair also was white, depression of the patches below the level of the surrounding skin, existence of quick raw flesh, and the spreading of scab and skull. Two forms of modern leprosy: the tubercular, or nodular, and the anesthetic or nervous. Generally, both forms are present. Nodular form begins as a rule as round or irregular shaped spots, commonly of a mahogany or sepia color. These often disappear and are followed by the appearance of nodules. In an advanced stage, the face is covered with firm, livid nodular elevations. The nose, lips, and ears are swollen beyond their natural size. Eyelashes and eyebrows are lost. Eyes are staring, producing a hideous disfigurement. As the disease progresses, insensibility of the skin and paralysis ensue, and the fingers and toes may rot away. In the biblical description, one is immediately impressed by the absence of all allusion to the hideous facial deformity, the loss of feeling, and the rotting of the members. If such conspicuous manifestations had existed, they could not possibly have escaped observation. The Levitical code prescribed that the several examinations of the person suspected should be made at intervals of 7 days, thus enabling the priest to note the progress of the disease. Leprosy is an exceedingly slow disease, particularly in the beginning, and a fortnight would show absolutely no change in the vast majority of cases. Moreover, the lepra Heborium was a curable disease. When the leper was cured, the priest made an atonement before Yah, and expiatory sacrifices in the form of a sin offering and trespass offering were made also. Modern leprosy, except in isolated instances, is incurable. So we'll just pause there. So this defilement, this uncleanness as a result of leprosy, bore a different type of measure or a different type of affliction than that which is the leprosy we know of today.
Dang.
Some classic instances of leprosy and marks that Yah used are Gehazi, which was Elisha's servant, who went back and got the reward for the healing of Naaman that Elisha didn't want to take. But Gehazi went back and took it. And he and his descendants were cursed forever with leprosy.
He also used the evil tongue in that situation too. He lied.
He lied. He lied. And the first instance, though not expressly stated, of someone being marked with leprosy is Cain ben Adam. Cain. That was the sign that he was marked with so that no one would bring harm to him as a result of what he did in his Lashon Hara. Am I my brother's keeper?
Cain.
Right? And so that was the sign placed on him. And of course, we know Moshe, who put his hand in his tunic, pulled it out. His hand became white as snow. Put it back in, color returned. But these prescriptions, these 6 affirmative, 2 negatives pertaining to Zara'at are guaranteed to keep us pure. We give decisions on leprosy right away. The priest, like, this is what this is, right? The individuals who are diagnosed with leprosy, first and foremost, don't cut away the marks that's pointing to uncleanness. Don't shave the skull so we can't see that the hair is white. If you're hiding this stuff, that's doing what Adam and Hawa did back in the garden. You're hiding the sin. Right?
Okay.
Then rend your garments. If you're a leper, you got to rend them garments. Allow your hair to go loose and cover your lip. And you're supposed to say, shaker, shaker, unclean, unclean. Like, stay away from me. I'm unclean. That's wild. And I was thinking too, you be seeing the basketball players after the game and stuff when they be talking, they be covering their lip. They got leprosy. Are they talking to Lashon Haram? I don't know. I just throw that out there. It was just a thought. And then there are prescriptions for the cleansing of leprosy. Of course, this is required of them to go to the Mishkan or to the Mikdash, present themselves before the Kohanim, so they can declare them clean. And if they are clean, they make a necessary offering. This is, of course, during the days of the altar. But this is what was required for the leper to be considered clean. And when he is rendered clean, he shaves or she shaves all their hair. Why? What is the purpose of shaving all your hair?
I was thinking that it's like the sign of your covering, the things that you covering yourself with before, it has to be removed. That's what led to the Lashon Hara.
Okay.
I mean, that's
So what would that be considered then? If you're removing everything you once were affiliated and covered with before, what are you undergoing?
removal of anything that's opposite of Yah, opposite of the Father.
Okay. What about Techiyet Hamatim? What about a resurrection from the dead? What about a rebirth?
That too. Okay.
When children typically are born, I mean, they have
You
some
must be
hair,
born again.
but there is a regeneration here now. Shaving all your hair is like a regeneration. Right? Come on, Amore Hasadaba.
Cain, absolutely. Because remember when Shaul, there was an accusation against him that he was teaching against Torah, and I believe it was James had asked him to make a vow with the rest of the men, that
Mm-hmm.
Nazareth vow, to show
Mm-hmm.
that he was not actually teaching against Torah. So, like you said, the cutting off the hair is actually like the rebirthing process of your new regeneration again. So anything that he had defiled you shave off your hair, and it's just renewing. So I agree with you 1,000%. I mean, excellent as always. I'm running with you.
Strive for stride. I strive for stride. Indeed. So when they're on the garments and on the house, there's laws pertaining to them on how to go about removing the leprosy or just getting rid of everything, burning it and tearing it down. Sometimes that is required. Sometimes we can remove the uncleanness from our lives. Sometimes we have to entirely destroy it. Right? That's what this is teaching us. Right? If the leprosy is not able to be removed from the house, and you take out the stone and it keeps spreading, you got to tear that whole house down. Same thing with the garments. So if you can't get that out, you got to burn it. This is what Mashiyach teaches us, though. Yeshua taught that if our eye offends us, if our hand offends us, we got to remove the uncleanness from us. That's the point of it. This is also relative to, in a sense, not only innocence, but in a sense, it's also relative to Pesach, removing the leaven. Removing the leaven, cleansing ourselves. Okay? Anything else from Zara'at, from leprosy?
Yeah, Maura, you know what? I don't know this person, but I heard of this person where they had a house, and the mold had gotten so bad in the house, this bacteria, where they needed to leave the house, have a professional come in and actually remove remove the mold, because if they would have stayed in there, the inhaling of this bacteria, this mold that was growing inside of the house, if that gets into your lungs, it can kill you.
Wrap it up.
So, and I'm looking at this like, wow, so a professional needs to come and cleanse the house
Mm.
of this bacteria, but the
Mhm.
people who live in the house can't stay there while the process of cleaning the house is going on.
Wow.
Now, take that now and apply spiritual applications with that to the physical body, where the divine presence of the Father can't tabernacle inside of this body if
Ooh.
it's contaminated with any type of virus.
Come on out.
Wow.
Bring it
Yeah,
home.
this is great.
Bring it home.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Bring it home. Now that's crucial. That's crucial. And that's the point. If we are the vessels of Elohim, our presentation has to be flawless. It has to be tahor. That's the outside. The inside has to be tamim. It has to be wholehearted. It has to be matured. It has to be perfect. And this is the true meaning of all this stuff. The cleanliness of our being initially results from our inwardness. That's why Yahshua said, you know what? You have heard it said that you shall not commit adultery. Fine and dandy. But I tell you, if you look at a woman with lust in your heart, you've committed adultery. Yeah, we know we ain't supposed to murder, but if you hate your brother in your heart, you've murdered your brother. Because it's really about the inwardness of ourselves that is most significant. That outwardness, anybody can do anything with that outwardness. This is what Yahushua called the Zadokim and the Perushim whitewashed sepulchres for. He called them you brutal vipers because they were outwardly filthy. Wash the inside of the cup first.
And also
Come on.
too,
Yes, sir.
he said they had a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. So it's like anything could appear, righteous. And then what Paul later on, he says the same thing. He says, marvel not, for Satan is transformed into an angel of light, and think not that he
Oh,
can't. Apostles look the same, you know.
oh,
So it all,
that's
yes,
right.
right. The outward don't mean nothing, and even what in Yahushua even further along, right? Yahushua said, a Jew is not one outwardly, but inwardly. I think Paul said that, but
Paul said that in Romans, what's that? 2.
um, yes, so there's plenty of examples of that of what you're talking about. Real.
Perfect. Perfect. Way to build. Say la. Now that's how we get to the heart of the matter. We bring these things out and we line them up and we add on and we sharpen this iron. It's crucial. Torah Rabbah. So this other art is powerful. This tahor, being tahor, is powerful. But this, now let's go back to that. Tahor is dealing with our outwardness. Last week we dealt with avodah. I believe, no, last week wasn't avodah. Last week was korbanot. Yep. Avodah was a week before. Last week was about the inwardness. Last week was about the inwardness. Okay. This week we're now dealing with the outwardness. Okay. And so now we get to things upon which we sit. Okay. The defilement of a couch or of a seat. Let's do this.
Yeah, while you're looking at that more, right, that Matthew 23, 25, and 8, as the Mashiach is having that conversation with the Pharisees about the outward appearance versus what's going on at the inside. Um, wow, it really describes a whole lot about how the inner consciousness of a man must be versus the outward appearance.
Say that one more time. So I'm doing too many things at once. Can you repeat that again, Babakasha?
Oh, yes, sir. That Matthew 23, 25, 28. Whenever you get a chance.
Okay. Let me pull this up over here. Dang it. 23, 28. Is that what you
We
said,
have
23?
23, 25 to 28. Matthew, the 23rd chapter, verse 25 to 28.
I'm going to turn it over to you. Got it?
We have, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are filled with plunder and unrighteousness. Blind Pharisees, first clean the inside of the cup and dish, so the outside of them become clean too. Verse 27. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly indeed look well, but inside are filled with dead men's bones and all uncleanness. Verse 28. So you too outwardly indeed appear righteous to men, but inside you are filled with hypocrisy and lawlessness.
Oh, that's my goodness. I mean, that's cutting. that cuts to the soul. That renders spirit from soul. Right? That's the double-edged sword of Mashiyach, or the word. Let's see here.
And there's levels to that too, you know what I mean? It's like we just
Mm.
saw them addressing the Pharisees, you know what I mean? But it's like think about politicians, think about, brothers in camps or whatever it is, you know what I mean, calling themselves elders, not being deemed the elder by the most high, you know what I mean? So it's like it's so many, Christian churches when you look at everything, like anything, really, you know what I mean? Like any type of like religion sect, you know what I mean? Because there's people that separate themselves from the world, like monks and stuff, but still go and eat defiled creatures, you know what I mean? Or unclean creatures or something. So, so it falls into all types of different categories when with that scripture is just specifically there. I know he was addressing the Pharisees, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
say that.
Mm-hmm. Selah. So looking at what this can imply, going to couches and seats now. Uh Tuma or uncleanness. And so as applied to the Mishkav and Moshav, the seat or couch symbolizes the spiritual vessel. In Kabbalah, a cleat receives divine flow, the Shifa. A defiled vessel represents a vessel receiving energy from the Sitra Akra, the other side, the realm of impurity. Impurity from bodily emissions, spiritual leakage. It equals spiritual leakage. So when we're dealing with emissions, you're dealing with leakages. I'm a nerd. One of the coldest anime out is Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen is dealing
Yes,
with
sir.
demons who are created from individuals who do not know how to circulate their energy. And because the negative energy in concentrated places like schools, hospitals, places where people gather in large numbers, creates demonic energy because they have leakages, right? This is what this is talking about. So couches where negative energy is built up on, and you see it's just unclean, it just looks unclean. Some couches you just look at and you just don't want to sit on here. I'm not sitting on that. And that's why grandma used to have the plastic down on the couch talking about sit on the good part, boy. You better not be sitting on the couch. You better be sitting on the good part of the couch, right? Because they knew the energy. And they wanted to keep their couch clean, though, too. So the plastic didn't come off the couch because they knew that they wasn't going to ruin that couch. But that's what this is about. We have to have a spiritual prophylactic, a spiritual covering to ensure that these vessels do not become defiled. A zav represents uncontrolled flow of life force. The couch or seat that is touched symbolizes the lower world's receiving distorted energy from the Sitra Akra. Anything that is not operating in the messianic mind is a leakage of distorted dark energy from the Sitra Akra. Sitting or lying, dominance or influence. Sitting on a seat is exerting spiritual influence on a lower plane. What did you talk about last night, More Mishpat, in terms of dealing with the transmission of the oral Torah?
They were in the seat of Moses.
The seat of Moshe. What is the significance of the seat of Moshe in that context, Zah?
The seat of Moses, the significance is when we go back to when Moses was sitting, when he sat and judged the people. At that time, he was bringing that spiritual influence to a lower plane by influencing the people on how to move in a way that's in accordance to Yah. So therefore, the scribes and Pharisees that were in the seat had the same seat of Moses, had the same responsibility of bringing that spiritual influence to the people so that everyone can live their life according to the ways of Yah.
And authority. And the authority.
And the authority, yeah. They had the authority of bringing the spiritual influence down to the people.
So in a sense, the word is slipping my mind. It's right on the tip of my tongue, though. A kisa. What is a kisa in Hebrew? Kisa. You know what a kisa is?
Is it the name of a Torah portion? Or my trip? No, I don't know.
That's
what it is.
kitisa. You're thinking of kitisa, but a kisa, a kaf, a samech, and I believe it is a aleph. You're dealing with the throne. The throne is called kisa, right? Hebrew word for throne. Kisa, right? Kaf Samech Aleph. Okay? A seat of honor. An elevated, often covered seat symbolizing authority, sovereignty, and dignity. In the ancient Near East, the throne was more than furniture. It represented the occupant's power and dominion over those below. So don't defile this throne. Don't defile the authority that Yah has given us. This is what this is talking about when you're dealing with couches or seats, right? It shouldn't have menstrual flow on it. There should be no blood, no defilement, right? A woman who is giving birth to children should not be on that couch because the energy is still healing. It's still in a lower vibratory state. The law of defilement of a woman with a running issue, if she has any discharge, same thing with the men. No discharges. No leakage of spiritual energy from the Sitra Akra. So this is what this is talking about. Our places of rest and our places of authority should not be defiled. If we're laying our head down to rest on a couch, we need that to be clean. You need to get good sleep. If the seat which you occupy to exercise your authority is defiled, well, you can't exercise your authority properly because now it's distorted energy. So we can look at this physically, but of course, we're looking at it spiritually as well. Any other thoughts, comments regarding laws of defilement for couches or seats? Bring it out, Albert. Other sources of defilement. 3 precepts, right? The law of a defilement of that which not of itself. This is going to be crazy. The law of defilement of creeping things, vermin. Law of defilement of seminal issue. And then they talk about the idol defiles to the same degree as a creeping thing. Now, what do they mean by a creeping thing? Din, Samoot, Sharats. Sharats. What is Sharats? How'd you do that? I don't need all that.
You can go to Leviticus 11 for that.
Shabbat. That's the dealing with the food.
Yeah, it's right in Leviticus 11, like 14. Oh, if it pop right there, then yeah.
So look here real quick, right? To bring forth moving creatures. The waters are the work of his hand, they beget life. To cast young breed. There was one frog, and it bred and filled the land. As the scorpion cast 60 a time. Moving creatures, unclean reptiles. If a man has a reptile in his hand, he cannot become unclean even if he bathe. He cannot become clean even if he bathe. If a man has a reptile in his hand, he cannot become clean even if he bathes. When he throws the reptile out of his hand, a bath in a basin of 40 sa'ah avails him. This could prove a reptile to be clean with 160 reasons was a dialectician. None could be seated in the Sanhedrin unless he could prove the cleanness of a reptile from biblical texts, the 8 reptiles mentioned in Torah, section treating of unclean animals in Sefer Shemini. It also means to run. Wow. That's not Sharats. Leviticus 11.
Yeah, if you go down to like verse 43, 44, it's right before somewhere up in there. One more. 42 it looks like.
42.
My bad. 42 it looks like it says you shall not eat all things that swarm.
Sharats. He
Yeah.
Sharats. Ha Sharats right here. Ha
Yeah,
Sharats.
that's it right there.
Hasharets. The whole Hasharets. All that creeps. Hasharets on the ground.
And it's also in 43. Anything that swarms, you shall not make
Hasharets.
yourself. You shall not make yourselves impure. Because once again, it's talking about the soul. If you look at 43, it says et nefesh king. Oh my bad.
Nah, I'm trying to see something real quick. Fire, head, Sadie, righteous.
It consumes the mind of the righteous, consumes the head of the righteous.
Wow, consuming the head of the righteous. 83:18.
Which probably why
Wow,
idol could be
consuming the head
described
of
with.
the righteous.
And I was just saying that's probably why it goes along with an idol, because it takes you out of that state. And then go into it.
Shabbats.
Oh, there you go.
Dealing with swarms, to team, abound, multiply, breed. Things that just fester. To creep, wiggle, means to expand fully, to fully develop. An inundation of small creatures. It is also wisdom to determine transformation, to measure a domain of transformation. Creeping things. But this breeding, right? This is a festering of dealing with this uncleanness, these swarms, right? You think of things that swarm, animals that swarm, what do they leave behind? Not much. And we know that Nachash was that which was crawling on its belly, eating the dust of the earth. Anything that walks on all fours is not human. Anything that has many legs, these are abominable. Many legs. Don't even draw this abomination upon yourself through anything that's moves.
And that's why I was because it brings up the nefesh there again, which idols defile our souls. Idolatry defiles the soul.
Jarets. It represents the lowest, densest form of spiritual blockage, an aspect of reality that clings to life force without elevating. This is parasitical. This is scavenging. Therefore, becoming tameh, richly defiled through contact with the sharet, symbolizes a soul being dragged down into spiritual heaviness, dullness, and disconnection. Sharets is any small creature that swarm crawls on the ground, lizards, rodents, insects. Leviticus 11 teaches that touching the carcass of a sharet conveys impurity. Halakhically, this is simply a category of tumah. The Kabbalah reads it symbolically. It treats sharets as a spiritual archetype, not just a creature. The sharet symbolizes life force that has fallen into the lowest realm. In Lorianic writings, the sharets represents chaotic, unrefined life energy, movement without purpose, vitality trapped in the klifot, the husks, desire that crawls instead of in sins. It is life force without elevation, instinct without direction. This is why Torah calls it sharets, from the root meaning to swarm, to teem, to overflow chaotically. Why does contact with sharets cause impurity? And Tumah is not dirtiness in this sense, it's disconnection from higher consciousness. Touching a sharets, coming into contact with spiritual heaviness, dullness of heart, instinctual reactive energy, the lowest strata of the life force. The impurity is not moral, it is energetic. The sharets is the creature that most embodies life force that moves but does not rise. Thus it touch pulls the soul downward. Why it's the lowest form of impurity? A hierarchy of creatures such as birds were airy, elevated consciousness, beasts, emotional vitality, and fish, concealed spiritual worlds, creeping things, life force falling into constriction. The sharets is the furthest from transcendence. It is the symbol of constricted consciousness, katnut, egoic survival instinct, desire without direction, moving without meaning. This is why impurity is so severe. In human psychology, the mystery of sharets being mapped into the inner world from Torah, the sharets corresponds to impulsive reactions, compulsive habits, anxiety that crawls under the surface, desire that swarm without purpose, and the small self that clings to survival. Touching the sharets, letting these forces touch your inner life is what brings us down. It makes us unclean. Becoming tameh means we lose clarity, focus, and spiritual sensitivity. Messianically, sharets represents the lowest sparks of kedushah. Redemption involves lifting even these sparks, right? Impurity laws teach that not all sparks can be elevated. Now, in the Messianic age, even the Sheratzim will be transformed. Thus, the mystery is the lowest, most constricted energy of creation, hallelujah, will one day be elevated. So that's very, very insightful of what this is about and why sharets and these creeping creatures are so important. Anything that dies of itself, you think about that, we implode, we become like supernova stars. We just implode. Don't come into contact with vermin. And similar issue, that's of course leakage. This is like just lust to lust. This is why both Onan and died. Anybody know why Onan and died?
Or spilling their seed.
Ooh-wee. If they say here, an idol, is that a terumim? What word do they use here? Avodah zarah. Avodah zarah. Mitme'ah kasheres. The same thing as the creeping thing. Tomota madeve sofrim. The scribes actually identified. They named it. They gave it the word that it makes you unclean. The scribes did this. Avodah zarah. So idolatry and idols also make us clean. Unclean, slika, tamua. Foods. The defilement of foods. Liquids and solids. The precedent condition which makes it possible for them to become defiled. This is all Leviticus 13. I'm sorry, Leviticus 11. That gives us the definition of what is unclean. And so keep in mind the first sin recorded in Torah, in scripture, was about a transgression of dietary law. At least in the surface level of it, in that Adam and Hawa ate peri, fruit, from an off-limit tree. So the first sin was related to defilement from food. So this is why it's important for us to keep that in mind. Hey, Shabbat Erev Shalom Maki. Todah Rabbah for stopping through and sharing. You are appreciated. We'll be back on one tomorrow, going over Parsha Beha'alotecha to raise up them lights. Ooh, get ready. Ooh, get ready.
What time is that?
Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central Standard. So that was what?
8.
10, 8. That's 8 your time? Dang.
Yes, that's how you get 5 hours.
Y'all 5 back. That is crazy.
It's 3:50 right now.
Okay. But yeah, we will start at 1 p.m. We'll be going on for a good minute though. We
All
be
right, man.
on.
Yeah, I'll tune in.
Basetta,
Yeah,
Basetta.
you'll be blessed.
Indeed, Shabbat Erev Shalom. Vessels. These are now containing with us. This is pertaining to us. These laws enable one to know which vessels contract defilement in any degrees above noted and which do not become defiled, likewise how these vessels become defiled or cause defilement. So there are some vessels that we know can not be defiled. Why? Because they are set apart unto Yah. They're impervious to defilement. And this is where we have to get. And we touched upon this a little bit last night with 1 John 3, where it says those who are Mashiyach do not sin. So once we reach that level of our faithfulness, we are truly immune to sin. Selah. Ritual baths. They're mikvot that must take place, right? Mikvot, right? The mitzvot, asa, achat. There's one. Women who are unclean. This is here wahi. This is the woman here, not who. This is he. Shitabul kol tameh bami mikva wa achar chad yitahar. This is what we do to be clean. You will immerse your body, right, in a mikvah pool in order to be made tahar, clean. You were gonna say something, Aki Mishpat?
No, I wasn't gonna say nothing. I was just oh well, you had talked about the heat. That was it. I was just thinking about what we had talked about last night.
Exactly. But you
Yeah.
see that see what they're doing with this though?
Yeah. And she,
That's interesting.
yeah. Maybe because this right here, the ritual bath, is something that was more common with the
The
women
women.
with Nashim because of their nida.
In addition to it, those waters are feminine, right? The mayim are also feminine waters in which we are reborn in, right? We're reborn in those waters.
Mm-hmm.
And so those waters serve as a matrix or a womb that give birth to us after we have been cleansed and made new.
Dang.
So that's another reason why. But there's a whole mystery. We went over this a few weeks ago. The mystery and the power of the mikvah is so profound. I mean, our ancestors understood this well, and that the mikvot was something that was regularly done. And it was done to initiate that rebirth, to proclaim Teshuvah, right? And that did, take on a little different meaning, not a lot, when Yochanan ben Zechariah, Ha'isayim, the Essim, was in the wilderness proclaiming the mikvah of Teshuvah. But this was about entering into the kingdom. This is what separated Yohanan's mikvot or mikvah from the regular mikvah, which is just becoming ritually clean. So you enter into the tabernacle.
Physical, yeah. That's the difference.
Yep. He was preparing souls to enter into Malchut Hashemayim, the kingdom of heaven. Oh my goodness. That's transcending time and space.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something also to keep in mind. And these also were typically in pools of running or living water. Typically. Okay.
Yeah,
It's not, it was cyclical water. It wasn't still water. I know that. Anything water sits still, it can become very, very impure and unclean. So these waters were constantly being stirred and moving. Because they couldn't be stagnant. Just like the spirit in us can't be stagnant. We are those vessels of living water. This is also symbolic of that. And this also, here it is. This is the biggest whopper. The living water, Mayim Chayim, is truly Torah. To be immersed and bathed in Torah, ritualistically, until it becomes nature. Because that's the purpose of ritual. The ritual is to condition you until that becomes your nature. That's the purpose of rituals, to do it over and over and over and over. It's like training, right? You're training muscle memory until it becomes first nature. That's what the mikvot were about. Come on, you got something to say?
No, just agreeing, ad-libbing as I can.
Hallelujah. So there are 20 mitzvot in this here. 20, I believe, is the number kaf. No? Is it kaf? Y'all, kaf, it is.
It is.
Kaf.
And it represents potential. So that purity brings us to being potential.
The fullest potential.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee. 18 positive, 2 negative. That's powerful. Any closing thoughts on your side, Art?
Yeah, it was, but it's kind of like it was from the beginning.
It's all good.
It's a lot that could be expounded on, probably, but I was thinking about the part where it's talking about just the dead body and how things get misconstrued when we don't understand our language. And like one of the biggest ones for me is like not making any cuttings in your flesh for the dead. Now, would you mind pulling that up? It's in Leviticus 19. I want to say it's in the 20s or something. Yeah, here it come right there. You shall not make gashes in your flesh for the blood or incise any marks on yourselves.
I
But
mean,
right there.
wow.
Mm-hmm. And what I was gonna say was, um, because I have certain tattoos, but all my tattoos have everything to do with the creator and things, right? So this was before looking into the language and stuff, truly, it's like you'll be able to say, like, I don't have a tattoo for the dead because the father is living. But then you know what I'm saying? So it's like when you look at it like that, someone can say that. But right there, it says the word nefesh is in here. Yeah, it's right there, the second word. It says Weseret la nefesh. Low. So no, none in your flesh, right? But it says for the soul, not for the dead, but for the soul. And most tattoos is inspired because soul also means appetite, your desire, your appetite. So things that you put on, most of the things that we get tattooed on us is a
That you
decision
desire.
from the soul. My bad. What was that?
Yeah, it's just so you desire to do it yourself.
You desire to do it yourself. You desire that. You had an appetite for that. So it's not just saying not just for anything of the dead, because people be like, thinking it's a RIP tattoo. But no, it's anything that's of our own desires. Not making any gashes in your flesh for your own desires or for your own appetite. So that right there also stood out to me too, as we was talking about like for defilement of the dead.
You see
Is
this
that
word right here?
yeah. U Kotovet. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Writings, markings. Don't find yourself.
But look at what what's a ketuvah though?
We were just
A
talking about
ketubah.
that. We were just talking Ketubah last night. The written agreement of a marriage. So it's something that's written.
So this is entirely different. This is a different type of writing that is not sanctioned by Yah on your
Mhm.
flesh.
Yeah.
What do you what kind of engraving, what kind of incision are you making there?
Mm,
What are you incising into your flesh?
mm.
That's crazy. It says any marks. Lo titanu.
Yeah. By him. By
On
him.
you. No, no,
See?
on you, not on you. No marks. Because I am Yah. I think that's something that we tend to forget. We think we're us, like I'm me, like I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Mm.
We're servants. We were created by the Most High. It's what Yah say. Going back to that, it's what Yah say. What Yah say? Got me shot. Shabbat or Shalom. You be coming in just at the tail end of it.
And just to because earlier we talked about the word goof for the dead
Body.
bodies. If you go to
Mhm.
Deuteronomy 21, I want to say it's like 21. I'm not trying to have you go all over the place like that, but
No, all good.
just showing where speaking of the body, it's not saying the fish. Right there, 22. I'm sorry, 22. If someone is guilty of a capital offense and is put to death, you impale the body on a stake. That word right there is I think it's not talit, not talita, but is it I think it's that one.
Ito,
Ooh,
Ito or
no,
Humat?
that's to put to death, I think. Let
Humat
me
is
just
put that.
I had it right here.
Now, Ito ants.
It's it says it come from the vela. So it might be that one. That says to
Which one?
hang.
Okay, this
One
is
second, I'm about to
hand.
pull it up. My bad. If you go to 2023, it's in 23. And you must not let the corpse right there, the knee nivleta
Nivlato,
nivlato.
carcass.
That's carcass of humans.
Nivlato,
So like this is what I was saying about not define yourself for the dead. If you want to say a carcass of humans, it would say the
Nivlato,
nivlato.
Nivlat. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So if it was talking about defiling somebody with a dead body, it would be speaking on that. But since it's speaking on the fish, that's deeper than a body. Although in some instances it will say nefesh, but I was saying if you wanted to be specific about speaking on a dead body, nivlato, yeah, nivlato or
Mm,
nivela in its root,
Nivela.
in its root form.
Salah, Salah.
So that was just something that I was thinking about with this.
So,
So once again, if we're looking at a tattoo, it's not talking about a dead body or dead corpse or you know what I'm saying, RP man tattoo.
yeah,
So,
R.I.P. Man, not Man. He said,
that's
Salah.
what yeah, so relating to a dead body. So and I think he did this have an effect in it also? No. We were just speaking on the scriptures about all the different defilements of a dead body, and most of those speak of the fish. So that's why we was that's what had me thinking about that though.
Yeah, it doesn't even really say anything about a body. It's just talking about death. Anything that's dead.
Yeah. Body or soul at that point.
I think
Mm,
it's the closest thing. This is just
that's
one.
one.
This is just it here, like right. Mitzvot
Um,
asah. This is one
oh yeah,
precept. Okay.
one precept. Yeah.
Wachud din uh Tuma'at. This is the on the
Tome.
defiled by death.
Is that Tome?
They don't even say
That's,
dead body. This is just by
yeah.
death.
Yeah.
Tuma'at. Met. Just anything that's death.
Mm,
Mm. Death period up.
death period.
Say a lot.
I knew it was coming. I was waiting for it. Say lie.
Ah. That's just good.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
that was one of the things that I was thinking about. We just look
Okay.
at the categories one more time. The red heifer, um, uncleanness of leprosy, and it was something I was gonna say about this. I just didn't have the resources on that, but basically, it's what Mashiyach came to do. He came to check the house of his leprosies, the house of Israel of his leprosy, and to be able to correct us to where the house wouldn't be destroyed. That's what I was getting to. I just have to put it together though. But this is what was in my mind as we were speaking on this, especially talking the law of the leprosy of a house.
Mm. Okay. So the leprosy of the house again was relative to sin being present in the house and not addressed.
Exactly. And him coming
So
to address it. The word coming to address it because if you go to Leviticus 14, it's certain things that's in there. About all right, if this part of the house is unclean, you take that out, you remove it, and you replace it with other stones.
Mm-hmm.
It's like where are we at? I think it might be like 40 something.
It's towards the end of the chapter. Here it goes.
Yeah, right there. Okay, the 30s. Okay, the priest shall order the house. That's the house cleared. And this is what I was thinking about when he came in there and he cleared out the temple of the those people that were selling and making merchandise out of the father's house, out of the temple. He said, "You turn my father's house to a den of thieves." So before those things even got declared on it, he cleared it out. Like literally, he cleared it out so that nothing that was in the house may become impure.
Mm. This is kind of what not kind of, it's what Hasadabah was talking about as well. When there is impurity in us, this is how Yah's presence departs.
Yep.
Right? That house is cleared out so that we can address the impurity, cleanse it, so they can become pure, so then Yah can again inhabit us. That's how sin works.
Mm-hmm.
Yah don't dwell on us when we're in sin.
Let me well, you can continue on. I'm just getting the scripture
That's
down.
it.
Okay, no, okay. Let me see. I'm just typing "den of thieves" on my phone. It should pop up.
From
Matthew
the reading
21.
concept.
Yeah, Matthew 21. Matthew 21, verse 12. Okay, and Yeshua went into the set apart place of Elohim and drove out all those buying and selling in the set apart place, and overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. He said to them, "It has been written, my house shall be called a house of prayer, but you have made it to a den of robbers."
Mm.
So he cleared it out before the destruction and things even came upon you before that judgment even came in. So now he goes
Mm.
in and examines the house.
They found some impurity in it. He cleared
Yeah.
it out,
And now he's about to
but it
go back
came
and
back.
examine
What
again.
happened? It came back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think of with that? What parable is that when he talks about the unclean spirit that leaves the house but comes back with 7 more?
Coming back 7 times worse. You want to let me get the verse for you.
Morielli, who back? What did it do?
It's Matthew. Well, hold on, wait. I almost read the wrong one. It's like the unclean spirit comes back 7 times.
Mm-hmm. 7 more.
Give me 2 seconds. That BLB, you gotta be punctual.
You good.
I'm about to just Google it because I know it's 7 times spirit KJV. All right. Matthew 12:43. Now, when the unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through dry places, seeking rest and finds none. Then it says, I shall return to my house from which I came. And when it comes, it finds it empty, swept, and decorated. Then it goes and take with it 7 other spirits, more wicked than itself, and they enter and dwell there. And the last of that man is worse than the first. So shall it be with this wicked generation.
They didn't really they didn't secure it. An empty house, right? If it comes back and finds it empty, right?
Uh-huh.
That's the key right there. It can't be empty. We have to be occupied with the Ruach HaKodesh.
Okay.
We have to have the Var HaTorah in us. The order of Torah. We have to be sealed. We have to be marked by Yah. This is an unmarked body right here, an empty vessel. Squatters come quick in empty houses. You know that, especially if you're in the hood.
Well, what? You can't leave
You
your
get a
house
squatter
alone too
quick,
long.
fast, in a hurry. Lighting fires because they know heat, lighting fires in the wintertime, burning the whole house down. Wow. Doing who knows what inside.
Every act of darkness.
My goodness. But that's leprosy, right? That's what the leper does. Uncleanness, citra akra, spiritual leakages, right? Discolorations, eruptions.
And to go along with everything that was said earlier from Kasadaba, from everybody that from Kasadaba and Yaram Yahu, I think it just tie into that what is it, Mark 7? Mark 7, when he talks about those things, the only thing that defiles a man is what within a man.
Well, what comes out of it.
Is that verse 15?
Verse 15 in particular.
Yeah. See. Yeah, there is no matter that enters a man from outside which is able to defile him, but it is what comes out of him that defiles the man. That's leprosy, being a spiritual condition. It's not coming from outside the man that gave him leprosy. It's within the man that, well, what came from within him that gives him leprosy.
So not only Lashan Hara, but the Yezer Hara. The evil inclination, which gives birth to the evil tongue.
Right now,
So again, that goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning, where being Tameh is a result of being Kalam, right?
Yep. Unclean,
So,
being defiled.
Yeah, within. But being Tahor is a result of being Tamim. You see what I'm saying? There's a correspondence. Being ritually clean on the outside, being pure externally, is a result for being wholehearted and one and perfect internally.
Right.
In alignment with the will of Yah.
Which brings up the contradiction of like how you clean on the outside, but not inside.
Exactly.
It's supposed to, it's an order to.
It's to configure. It's a configuration. It's a mathematical equation that has to add up.
You doing PEMDAS backwards.
Exactly. Or you missing steps.
Yeah.
You missing steps. You ain't you ain't in order. Right? Say la. There you go. Powerful.
And about that, it's just a couple things that I was over here thinking about, like even with that red heifer. I don't know if you're trying to get off, but just real
good.
That Hebrews 9, verse 13 through 14, and I think it's like it says, "For if the blood of bulls and goats and the ashes of a heifer," it's mentioned right there, the ashes of a heifer, sprinkling the defiled, sets apart for the cleansing of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of the Messiah, Mashiyach, who through the everlasting Ruach Spirit offered himself unblemished to Elohim, cleanse your conscience from dead works to serve the living Elohim. Now the ashes of a heifer could cleanse someone from dead works, why wouldn't the blood of Mashiyach cleanse our minds from dead works and serve the living Elohim? And I think that's just a big
See,
question. And
yeah.
you go ahead, because I was gonna
No,
say,
no, no. Finish your thought, please. I'm sorry.
and I was just gonna say this because this isn't even a Christian mindset when to say something like this.
Right.
To be honest, what Paul is using here, what Shaul is using here, is rabbinic thought. It's a exegesis that the sages and the rabbis use. If you don't mind looking it up, you could just type in rabbinical light to heavy. Like, what is the rabbinical light to heavy or something like that? It's a classical rabbinical principle, kal vachomer, literally light and heavy. It is one of the 13 hermeneutic rules of Rabbi Ishmael used throughout the Talmud and Midrash, the Brit Kadashah's Midrash. So it says, what is light to heavy? Kal vachomer. A kal vachomer is a rabbinical logical rule. If something is true in a lighter, less strict case, then it is certainly true in a heavier, more strict case. And in this moment, if the blood of a heifer, the ashes of a heifer can defile the nation,
Mm.
well, how much more the blood of Mashiyach? Or the reverse. If something is forbidden in the light case, it is
It's
even more forbidden in the
been
heavy case.
and 40 on.
And you can explain what fortiori is. It sounds like, I don't know what that is,
So
but
that's
it
just
sounds
like
like,
something that's just like it's almost like just given,
mm,
right? So you're dealing here from the stronger or with greater reason.
mm,
Used to draw a conclusion that is even more certain or convincing than the previously established one. I just think it's just given, you know what I'm saying? Like you know that.
yeah,
It just leads to that understanding, like it's just the principle.
the principle of the matter, like we be
Mhm.
saying now. So you can look, it says they even use this to interpret symbolic meaning, which is why I know people think a lot of stuff be Christian or Christianity, but even the rabbis use this. So now the rabbanim use this. So now when you see Paul saying, well, look at this, and then look at Mashiyach, and look at this, and look at Mashiyach, it's like it's not nothing Christian about that. Okay, yeah, let's see what they say. You want to read it or you want me to read it?
You got it.
Okay. Here's the deep, historically grounded rabbinic background to Hebrews 9:13-14, showing what Jewish sources before and during the Second Temple period taught about the blood of bulls and goats and the ashes of the red heifer, and how these ideas form the interpretive precedent behind the author's argument. I'll give you the rabbinic logic, the Second Temple context, and the light to heavy kal vachomer reasoning that Hebrews is using, because Hebrews 9:13-14 is built directly on a rabbinic style. Kal vachomer. Hallelujah. All right, so look, this images. The text in question. Hebrews 9:13-14 argues, if the blood of bulls and goats and the ashes of the red heifer purify the flesh, how much more will the Messiah's self-offering purify the conscience? This is a classic rabbinic Kal Vomel argument. Rabbinic precedent, the Kal Vachomer structure. The author of Hebrews is using the same hermeneutic rules found in the 13 Midot of Rabbi Ishmael. If a lighter cause produces a certain effect, then a heavier case. My bad, let me reread that. If a lighter case produces a certain effect, then a heavier case certainly does. This is the rabbinic light to heavy. The light case is animal blood and red heifer ashes. The heavy case is the Messiah's self-offering. Rabbinic interpretation of the red heifer. Well, oh, okay. The red heifer ritual in Numbers 19 was understood by the rabbis as the highest form of ritual purification. The only remedy for corpse impurity. The only remedy. A paradoxical ritual that purifies the impure but defiles the pure.
Wow.
The chok of all chokim, the most mysterious decree.
It just don't make no sense. Like Hukim is just like, it's just what y'all say. It's like this is what he prescribed, do it.
Right. A purification that comes from outside the camp. Midrash Tankuma. This is important because Hebrews emphasizes that the Messiah suffered outside the camp. Hebrews 13:11-12, echoing the red heifer ritual. The rabbis taught that bull blood equals purification for the priesthood. Goat blood equals purification for the people. These purify the flesh, a ritual status, not the inner conscious. This distinction is explicit in rabbinic literature. Atonement of the altar is for the body, not the heart. Sifra akremot.
Wow.
Hebrews is
That's dealing
drawing
directly with the Yom
Yeah,
Kippur ritual.
yeah. Leviticus 16. Yes. Rabbinic categories of purification, flesh versus conscious. Rabbinic Judaism distinguished purity of the body, taharat haguf, and purity of the soul and heart, taharat halev. The red heifer and the sacrificial blood purified the body only. This is stated in Mishneh Yoma 8:9, Sifra on Leviticus 16, Targum Jonathan's on Numbers 19. You might have to check that out. Hebrews 9:13-14 is using the rabbinic distinction. Animal sacrifices purify the flesh. Messiah's offering purifies the conscience. This is not a Christian innovation. It is a Jewish interpretive framework. On the Dead Sea Scrolls, especially 4QMMT and the Temple Scroll, also distinguish. Ritual purification is external. Inner purification is moral and spiritual. The Qumran community believe animal sacrifices purify the body, but only the spirit of holiness, set apartness, purifies the inner person, the spirit of it. This is the same conceptual structure Hebrews uses. How Hebrews uses rabbinic logic. Hebrews 9:13-14 is a cha va-chomer. If the lighter purification, animal bloods and ashes work externally, then the heavier purification, Messiah's self-offering, works internally. This is identical to rabbinic argumentation in Sifre, Mishnah Yoma, and the Talmud Bavli, the Babylonian Talmud, Pesakim 66a, Bava Kama 25a. The author of Hebrews is arguing like a first century Jewish sage. Summary table.
Yeah, this just gives us all that here.
The whole thing, yeah.
No, it gives us a summary of it.
Okay. And that's what okay, yeah, see what you got going right here.
Let's do that.
Here's the rabbinically grounded answer you're looking for. This is not a Christian theological explanation, but a Jewish interpretive framework that makes sense of the claim the blood of Messiah purifies the conscience, using rabbinic categories, rabbinic logic, and rabbinic precedent.
Let me pause right there because again, we're dealing with Sefer Tahora, right? So this is about purity and cleanliness. So we just read how the blood of goats and bulls will never purify and cleanse the conscience. It will cleanse the body, but it won't cleanse the conscience. And that's what Yah's really wanting cleansed. This is why you're dealing with, what psalm is that? 110, where it talks about blood of goats and bulls I did not desire.
Mm.
but you've tuned my ear to your voice. So
Mm.
let's go here.
Rabbinic Judaism, distinguishing two kinds of purification. The distinction is essential. Purification of the flesh, taharat haguf, ritual status, external impurity, achieved through sacrifices, water, ashes, etc. Purification of the conscience, the heart, taharat halev, moral and spiritual purification, internal transformation, achieved through repentance, divine mercy, and the work of the Ruach, the Spirit. This distinction appears in Mishneh Yoma 8:9, Sefer on Leviticus 16, Targum Jonathan on Numbers 19, Psalms 51, creating me a clean heart, O Elohim. Rabbinically speaking, sacrifices never purified the conscience, they purified the
Never.
body, never purified the conscience. They purified the body in the ritual state. This is the foundation of understanding Hebrews' claim. Rabbinic teaching, only Elohim purifies the conscience. Rabbinic sources teach that the Holy One, blessed be He, purifies Israel. Yoma 85b. We can't sacrifice Him. All right, mama. And the sin offering atones for the body, but the heart is purified only by Elohim. That's Sifra Akre Mot. Thus, in rabbinic thought, blood of animals purifies the flesh. Elohim himself purifies the conscience. This is the exact conceptual structure Hebrew uses. Rabbinic precedent, the inner purification is a divine act. Rabbinic literature repeatedly states that inner cleansing is a work of the Ruach HaKodesh, a work of Elohim's mercy, a work of the coming Redeemer, Mashiyach. Examples, Ezekiel 36:25-27 is rabbinically interpreted. I will sprinkle clean water upon you. I will give you a new heart. I will put my spirit within you.
So
Rabbinic
pause.
yeah.
Pause. That's what you do during the ritual of the heifer. You
Hmm.
sprinkle water on the defiled.
Uh-huh.
But now Yah is sprinkling water on us. Come on now.
Which now makes us open to a new heart and for his Ruach. Because
Because
we
you got
didn't
to be
get the new
cleansed
heart or the Ruach before.
within.
Yeah.
It don't. The offering of an animal don't give you a new heart. It'll take the physical defilement away, not the spiritual. Only Yah can move that out the way. Come on now, let's go. Bonelech.
Hallelujah. Rabbinic commentary, Sefer Devarim 43. This is the purification of the heart in the days of the Messiah.
It says it right there.
Thus, rabbinically, messianic purification equals inner purification. Rabbinic logic, the Messiah's suffering has atoning power. This is not a Christian idea, it's a rabbinic one. Sources, Talmud, Sanhedrin 98b.
We just went over this one.
Yep. The Messiah is called the leper scholar, bearing the sufferings of Israel. Midrash Ruth Rabbah 5:6. The Messiah atones for the sins of Israel. Zohar 2:12a. The Messiah lifts the impurities of the world. Thus, rabbinically, the Messiah's suffering has atoning power. The Messiah's work is inner purification. The Messiah's role is removing the deepest impurity, sin itself.
And he came to destroy the works of the devil. And those who are in Mashiach are powerless to sin.
Because the deepest impurity has been removed. Sin itself. You have something else you wanted to add on to that?
I'm good.
This is the rabbinic basis for Hebrews' claim. Rabbinic hermeneutic, Kal Vachomer, and if possible, I could even send a picture to you. But the 13 hermeneutic, the exegesis that they use, they have the 13 principles. It's all throughout the Brit Kadashah. Like, and that's why I'm like, it's just crazy. Let me just keep going. Hebrews 9:13-14 uses a rabbinic rule. If the lighter purification, animal blood, cleanses the flesh, how much more the heavier purification, Messiah's offering, cleanses the conscience? This is the rabbinic rule of Kavah Homer. Rabbinically, animal blood equals light, Messiah's blood equals heavy. Therefore, if the light case purifies externally, the heavy case purifies internally. This is exactly how the rabbis argue in Sifra, Sifrei, and the Talmud. So how does the Messiah's blood purify the conscience rabbinically? Putting all putting all the rabbinic pieces together, only Elohim purifies the conscience. Rabbinic sources say inner purification is divine. The Messiah is Elohim's agent of ultimate purification. Rabbinic sources says the Messiah brings the final cleansing. The Messiah bears the sins and impurities of Israel. Rabbinic sources says the Messiah suffers to atone. The Messiah's atonement is heavier than animal sacrifices. Rabbinic logic says a greater offering produces a greater purification. Therefore, the Messiah's offering purifies the conscience because it is divine in origin, it is messianic in scope, it addresses the inner impurity, sin, it fulfills Ezekiel's 36 promise of a new heart, it surpasses the red heifer and Yom Kippur sacrifices.
Slika. This is why for 40 years after 30, all the miracles that took place according to the Yerushalayim and the Bavli Talmud, that atonement never took place after that from the ritual. The same stone appeared for Azazel 40 years in a row. The black stone came out 40 years in a row. Impossible. The red scarlet thread on the door never turned white for 40 years. The western lamp of the menorah always went out. The doors to the Mikdash opened up every day. Both Talmud record this taking place for 40 years prior to the destruction of the temple.
Man,
up until its destruction. And we know it took place around 30 of the current era.
That's why with the gematria, like 40 being trials and testings, that was testings of our heart set. If you see by the 10th year, you see there ain't nothing changed. We should be looking to see what's going on.
And you just said it. He just flipped the tables over in the temple. But it came right back. That uncleanness and that defilement came right back. Oh my goodness. Say what?
It surpasses the red heifer and Yom Kippur sacrifices.
That's the point. That's what I was like. Wow. The Yom Kippur and that's so clear because there's witness to the Yom Kippur ritual not having any effect for 40 years.
This is a fully rabbinic conceptual framework.
There's a summary table.
And that was just to show, man.
Cleansing. Torah. According to conscience. According to conscience. According to conscience. This is where we have to, and this is not just about being aware. This is about our hearts being pricked and us understanding that we got to turn to Yah. Conscience is dealing with conscientiousness. That is either being tamim or kalal. It's either having asham, guilt, or having no asham, lo asham, which is why Romans 8:1 is so important. Therefore, there is now no guilt offering to those who are in Mashiyach, who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the will of the Spirit of Elohim. There's no sacrifice. There's no need for sacrifice. Abraham understood that. Abraham well understood that because he presented himself. There it is. As a living offering. Same thing Yahshua did. Every day. Before he even offered himself up on Golgotha, he was offering himself up to Abiyah. So that was nothing. That was a smooth, seamless transition. Sefer Avodah. He offered himself, Sefer Korbanot, as the living offering.
Mm.
And he became Sefer Tahara. He became himself the scroll of purity. Something we all can do. Something we're all supposed to do. Mm-mm-mm.
And through that
Hallelujah.
became a father of many nations.
Amen. Selah.
Selah.
That was a good journey. Anything else you got out? Anything else you see from Mishneh Torah? Red heifer, Zara'at.
With the leprosy, let me see. With the leprosy, let's see if I can. We talked about that already in a way when we spoke on the house. I think that's where, and then we ended up going up some more. But let's see what else can I don't know. My mind just really running off of off of that right there.
Slika.
Man, that was right there was that was big right there. But no, at the moment, no. If it comes back to me, I'll mention it. Because it was 8 different chapters in this.
Hey,
8
Slika, I'll be right back. Slika.
Okay, that gave me some time to think. Let me see.
All right, Mr. Ka, Slika. Anything you come up with up?
Um, I was thinking about it, Matthew, but just thinking about that red heifer real fast because it did
Okay.
mention about that Hebrews 13 about him being outside the camp. That's just
Uh-huh.
go along with everything we're gonna see when we get to that parsha. But dealing with the leprosy, because that's what I was talking about at the beginning, because it says right here to the rules prescribed in the Torah, everyone who had leprosy had to be checked by the priest.
Yep.
It's just that how after even when Mashiyach healed the lepers, he told them to go present themselves to the priest.
Yep.
He told them to go present themselves to the priest. So just showing how, just thinking about how those things still lined up. And other than that, Nothing really too much more outside of that. I was just thinking about all the stuff that relate to the break our shots to bridge that gap to show it's really no divide in it. The divide just come from us trying, like, when we divide it up in a way, but really it all connects. It all connects.
I agree. We talked about the continuity last night.
Yeah, the continuity.
There's continuity.
And
Bro,
even you can expound on that some more, because that way, I guess when we go through the Mishneh Torah now, we can look for the continuity of it, and not like because if we talk about a living water, it shouldn't be a dam in the midst of living water. You know what I'm saying? Like, to stop
no
it. It'd be like,
blockages. No blockages.
it's all supposed to continue. You know.
I think Yahushua ben Yosef's words, I did not come to destroy Torah, but to fulfill it. Like, that shows it's about the completion of Torah, in the sense that every individual has a responsibility to complete and fulfill Torah within themselves, which is the goal of Torah in the first place, the Messiah. That produces the messianic reality. That's what gives us the renewed covenant. That's what puts the Barit Chadashah in our heart. And if this man's example, who laid his life down for his people, does not convict us of the fervency and the love and the cleaving to the Ruach Yahuwah, I don't know what does. I don't know what does.
Because if we went to the tabernacle, the temple, and we did a sacrifice, and we allowed it to be like, you know what, I'm about to serve y'all more. How much more than the one who, like you said, laid down his life?
Yep. Well, let's see, we fire.
Say that again.
I said, this seaweed is fire. Nah, that's real.
That thing like a hard Listerine strip.
You like them too?
Yeah, they good though. My wife be eating
Yeah.
them a lot though.
Yeah, I got these barbecue Korean ones. Woo-wee.
Oh yeah,
Fire and fire.
they got the seasoning on it.
Yeah, that's like I need to get them wasabi ones, bro. Them wasabi is heat. I love wasabi. Wasabi
Yeah,
tear you up though.
literally. Yeah, I might say it's
Yeah,
literally heat. You need a
yeah,
couple
wasabi
bottles of
tear
water,
you up. But it's right.
and not that horseradish wasabi. Like,
I need to get that. I ain't had that one.
because that's what most wasabi made out of, horseradish.
I love it.
At least over here. So it's like, yeah.
Did you have horseradish at the Sefer for Pesach?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That the bitter, like that thing said, the coke of cocaine. The
Yeah.
bitter of bitters.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the biting, bro. We had a real root. We cut that, we shaved the root, shaved it and chopped it and put it on the sandwich with the sweet. We ate it raw too. Boy, I'm gonna open all that up.
Yeah, got you sweating.
Yeah, dude. This couch and seat, that got me open there.
See, yeah. Go
that
ahead.
got me open. Just dealing with the idea of authority, right? A seat dealing with authority, but the couch is awful, so the rest.
What's the
right?
word that they have up there for couch and seat in the Ivrit? Oh yeah, you did say the mishkav,
Mishkav and Moshav.
and moshav. Cause I know it's a couple.
Right. Hachut matame mishkav umoshav. So Moshav. Let's see which one is what.
And then look, the instrument.
Shechav is couch, bed, grave. Wow. The uncleanness caused by an unclean person lying on an object. Sexual connection. Pederasty. I never heard of that. A pederasty? You ever heard that word?
I heard it, but I don't know the meaning. And it's so
Never heard of
crazy
it.
because anytime it says like, they laid down or not when they say laid down, that's the
Oh,
word shakam.
wow.
Yeah, that's the word right there.
Wow. What happened? What done did happen?
Like he had brought up a whole nother tab.
I'm doing too much. So the Mishkav. Come on now. Let me just go back. And the Moshav. Moshav is a really? That's what the Moshav is? A seat?
Let's see.
Interesting. But look, his sitting in judgment
What does that say?
is in
Leviticus 25
holiness.
4. I'm gonna pull that up. Or is that Leviticus 15 4? That's 15. XV.
Where you see that at?
Right there where under the definition, go down 2 more lines, 3 more lines. Right there. It says right at the top, right above where it cut off at Leviticus XF 4. Leviticus 15
15
4.
4.
Yeah, every bed whereon he lies that have the issue. And that word lie, where he lies, is the shit. Is that the word you are you on the word? Oh,
Moshav.
that's crazy. Both of those words is in there. Mikshav is bed, and then you have Shakav in that same verse. In Leviticus 15 4.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
bed, couch, the act of lying down for sexual contact. So this
Look
is
at
probably
this one.
why it mentions the menstrual and everything that's right here. Because if you lay with a woman on her menstrual, or what does that say? Privy chair of one afflicted with gonorrhea.
That's crazy. A Moshav Zav.
Oh yeah, Zav is that issue, that running issue. Yeah, I always
Wow.
thought Zav or Zuv was a STD, but that just confirmed it right there. Because when they say that running issue, that burn, that leak,
The burner.
that freak leak.
The freak elite, bro. That's the real freak elite. Dang. Oh, bad.
Oh man,
Oh, bad.
but now that's interesting because if you go to Leviticus 15 4, both of those words in the same thing. And it's talking about a man where he lies
Kal
that has the issue.
hamashakav asher yishkav elav hezav yitame yitama v'chol hakali asher yishav. There it is. Elav yitama.
Mm,
Any bedding on which the one with the discharge lies shall be impure. So that's the right here, lies. And every object on which he sits shall be impure.
mm,
So the couch is about lying and the seat is about sitting.
mm.
Okay. So the T it's not a kisa, but it's a mosha. Right? But you can see here it also has the word shuv in it.
Yeah.
Shav. But that could be considered shuv as well.
Mm.
That's interesting. They're play on words, mishkav and moshav. You can just substitute the vav with the kaf in so many ways. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm. So even
Mm,
if you're laying down with someone, or even if you're in a position of authority, if your intimacy is off in either one, that's where your defilement come in. Because if you're in a place
wow.
of authority, you're supposed to be intimate with the creator.
That's it. Especially if there's no ketuvah.
Mm, mm,
Clear. Mm, have mercy out. But see, this is what we read this in the ascension of Isaiah, on how during those days in chapter 3, because of the spirit of error and fornication, right, that there would be so much error amongst the people.
Yep.
It says, afterwards, on the eve of his approach, his disciples will forsake the teachings of the 12 apostles, their faith and their love and their purity. There will be much contention on the eve of his advent and his approach. In those days, many will love office, though devoid of wisdom. And there will be many lawless elders and shepherds dealing wrongly by their own sheep. And they will ravage them owing to their not having set apart shepherds. And many will change the honor of the garments of the saints for the garments of the covetous. And there will be much respect of persons in those days and lovers of the honor of this world. And there will be much slander and vainglory at the approach of the Most High, of the Master, really, Ha'adon, and the Ruach HaKodesh will withdraw from many. And there will not be in those days many Nevi'im, no prophets, nor those who speak trustworthy words, save one here and there in diverse places. On account of the spirit of error and fornication and of vainglory and of covetousness, which shall be in those who will be called servants of that one, and those who will receive that one. And there will be great hatred in the shepherds and elders toward each other. For there will be great jealousy in the last days. Everyone will say what is pleasing in his own eyes. And they will make of none effect the prophecy of the prophets which were before me. And these my visions also will they make of none effect, in order to speak out of the impulse of their own hearts. Here we are.
Oh,
And this is why the world is tameh. The world is impure. It's unclean right now. All these things here. And this is what even Kephar writes about when he says, in the last days, men will be lovers of self, lovers of pleasure, boasters, right? Haters of the good, murderers of their parents, all these things. You're seeing these things. But people are taking these prophecies and making them of none effect. It's like, whatever, I don't see these things. The writing's on the wall, but people ain't paying attention to what's being written and what was written. And this is why the world is so defiled. It's Lot in Sodom and Gomorrah. Right now, we are literally in Sodom and Gomorrah, Babylon, all those things. This is why it says in Revelation 18 and verse 4, come out of her, my people, lest you partake in her sins and receive of her plagues. Come out of her. Touch not that which is unclean. What chapter is that in Isaiah?
Touch not that one. Let me go back. Let me look it up. Touch not that what is unclean. You got it.
$52. Right before, what verse was it? 11.
Hello.
Turn away. Shuv. Right? It said, Saru. Suru. Sav, what's this? Misham. Tameh. There it is. Tameh. El Tiga'u. Sa'ul. Mitucha. Hibaru. No say. What's that? Keli Yahuwah.
The vessels. Oh yeah.
This is the klifot. These are the vessels. Come on. So, oh my goodness.
The vessels that become pure.
Yes, because the klifot are also Sitra. There's a Sitra Akra klifot as well that covers the light. But it's the same vessels, the same keli that not the same, but on the other side, the light vessels. Oh my goodness.
And this got my mind running too. And because we just talked about this in the Mishneh Torah today. I forgot which one it was, but it says the vessels that become defiled and vessels that don't ever become defiled. And all that's talked about in Hebrews 9 also. Man, it's just, yeah, that Hebrews 9.
Okay, Kelim and Klifot. Okay. Klifot and Kelim. Klifot and Kelim. Okay. Klifot of the Sitra Akra. Kelim of Elohim. Okay. Kelim are the intended containers of divine light, the holy structures created to receive, shape, and express Yah's energy. Klipot or husks are unintended shells that form when divine light is received improperly, shattered or blocked. They are parasitic structures that feed on light but do not reveal it. Kelim reveal light, Klifot conceal light. Kelim belong to the side of Kedusha, Sitra de Kedusha. Klipot belong to Sitra Akra. That's the simplest way to put it. Wow, Kelim and Klipot. But they have similar roots as vessels. They're both vessels. One is for light.
Conceal and one is to reveal.
One reveals light, one conceals light.
And that's actually just based on that term alone, that's revealed in the Torah. Because Aharon means to be the light bringer, while Lucifer is light bearer. One who has a light doesn't reveal it. And
Hillel, that's from Hillel.
Hillel, my bad, not Lucifer, but Hillel. Yeah, Hillel.
Shachar ben, is it Shachar ben Hillel?
What was it? Isaiah 14?
Isaiah 14.
I think it's Isaiah 14 where it says that at. But that's the light bearer, while Aharon is the light bringer. Because, like it says, the klipot conceals light, meaning it's light there, but it's just being concealed.
Yep. Hidden.
I guess I said Lucifer because there you go, right there. Right there, Hillel.
Hillel ben Shachar. Yep, Hillel ben Shachar. Light bearer. Shining one, morning star. Lucifer, the king of Babylon and Satan, adversary. Describing the king of Babylon.
So if we were to put these two into the klipot and the Kelim, I think those two are like good examples, just based off of what I know from it.
Well, who you quiet, man? You ain't got nothing to add on. I know you got some noodles going over there stirring, bro.
Yeah, bro. I'm chilling real hard.
Bro. You fading. You struggling. He hold on. He said, my gas is low.
Oh shoot. And my phone on 1%. Let me go get a charger.
Gabi Shah says, all our Abba's commanding First Chronicles. Is this you, Gabi Shah?
Yes.
Okay. Touch not my anointed, do not my prophets no harm. Yep, that distinction. That's deep. Torah. Selah. Kelim and Klifot. I saw that, was like, what? What? Okay. Selah.
And as the Kalina and Klifo, I just kept thinking about the sheep and the goats and the wheat and the tare, and how they have to grow up together, and how
Wow.
one. Can you go back to that? The definitions. Yeah, how like one art, right? Unintended shells that form when divine light is received improperly, shattered or blocked. They are parasitic structures that feed on light and do not reveal it. And that's what we see with wolves dressed in sheep's clothing.
Wow.
That's what we see. And that's why the great divide must happen. And in the meantime, we have to grow up. But that's why it's so important that we Kaleem, that, that we remain clean and purified and be still and know. Take a shower and be still and know, right? Become one with be still and know. I am. Yeah. Deep. Can you post that in the chat? Can you post this whole write-up?
Oui.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I felt like it was almost like a yin yang, I guess you could say, like how it was. We have commands. I'm sorry.
That's excellent.
Yeah, like how we're commanded not to touch certain things, but in reverse, those who are Kalim, what was it? Let me see. Kilpot, Klipot are also commanded not to, because there's a the warning that comes with it on both ends. It's very, very, very interesting. Balance too.
All of it.
It's divine. What would be the word? It's just divine balance, divine structure, order.
Okay.
Definitely, like a distinction, like how he separated the land from the sky, and with the earth from the water, the land that it's a distinction, the kingdom of heaven and the two kingdoms. It's very interesting.
Shabbat. Way to bring that in, Nicole. I'm gonna put this in the WhatsApp chat, Beit Mashiyach, because it didn't fit into the chat. All of it didn't fit into the chat on in the whatchamacallit.
Just makes me think too. Parasites are like those little like lint balls, right? They always want to stick to their clothes, and the people always want to kind of energy. Like, it's just kind of like magnetic. Like, we are called to be light, and we are called to be pure and set apart, so that we don't, so that we can cleanse ourselves of the word. The Most High can cleanse ourselves. We can cleanse ourselves of the pricklies and the snags and the lint balls and it's very wow.
Not so long.
And even thinking about how it says like our weapons are not carnal. That's been a verse I used earlier today. In our lifestyle,
2 Corinthians 5, yeah, it's powerful. I love that one.
Yeah, our lifestyle too is not. If we follow what we're prescribed to follow, yeah, it will, and it's been created to work out, and it will work out.
Man.
Okay, here we go. Oh, my bad.
Go ahead.
What you come up on?
I just wanted to share this to you. I'm gonna copy and dang, it might be too large for that. I'm gonna just put this in right here in the chat. And maybe if you look it up on your end, just to be able to.
Is there a link?
Yes, a link. The thing is, I just know when I use a link, I hope it show up in the same manner. Let me see.
Is it a big document?
No. It's just what came up. I can actually pull up a link because I was just going off what AI was showing because it just laid it out in a more
Oh,
comprehensive way. But I'm about to copy this link and send it to you.
13 hermeneutic rules of Rabbi Ishmael.
Yeah, because it's like that's why I loved about how you always describe the Brit Kadashah as a midrash, because all these principles are applied in there. And as I was just reading through Hebrews 9, it's like, man, you can really see it. But then Hebrews 8 also, it just made me think about what we was talking about earlier. Because if those outer sacrifices and things, like those sacrifices can only cleanse the outer, now how would the law be written in our hearts if not for the spirit of Mashiyach, the sacrifice of Mashiyach? Like, how would it not be written on the within or written in our hearts? It has to be something more than what was given to us to just cleanse the outside. And that seems exactly how he's framing his arguments in his letters. And all right, so the one that I was just thinking about with the 9, even in Hebrews 9, where we start talking about the tabernacle, and then starts talking about how now we have Mashiyach, who then became a high priest of good things to come. That's like between numbers 3 and 4. A comprehensive principle as contained in 1 or 2 biblical laws is applicable to all related laws. When a generalization is followed by a specification, the specification applies instead of the generalization. So all those things right there, like these things is what's going on in there.
This is huge. This is rewiring. Because I'm gonna tell you, like the context and the methodologies from which our ancestors read, interpreted, and applied Torah, we're so distant from those things today. We are so distant from those things. We think largely from a Western standpoint. Not all of it. And we're unlearning. But these are things that we need to reinculcate into our culture. This is a cultural a cultural perspective that helps us to perceive reality properly.
Mm-hmm. And if you give me 2 seconds, I'm about to log on and drop it also in the chat so you can be able to see this right here too. Or should I just
There's
send it to
another
you on
part to it.
WhatsApp? Just showing how it can be applied. I just want to show you like an example of how it's applied.
Okay.
I'm gonna send it on WhatsApp. Are you able to read it from your WhatsApp right there?
I can grab it.
And pull it
Yeah.
up. Okay, I'm gonna
Okay.
send it to WhatsApp.
I'll put it back up.
I know Zoom will cut it off. Okay. And if you could share it on the screen and just read it so we could just read it along, which is just, it's one of those things like once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it's like, man,
So
this is just showing how some of these rules applies to Hebrews 9.
So it's the same thing that you posted that I got that came back up. Did you post a text in there?
No, I sent it to your the one-on-one in the
Oh, okay.
under the Mikael Kobayahu.
Okay. Let me see if I can make this larger so that way I can't magnify the
We
screen. If I
we,
magnify
we,
the
we can't see
screen.
it. We can't see it on the screen, but
I'm gonna bring it up in a second. I'm trying to see
okay.
if I can expand it. Oh,
Okay.
I can. Okay, here we go. Okay.
So now, like, as I read through the Brit Kadashah, you try to like just see like how these things was being pointed out in this too. Okay, it says the author of Hebrews 9 heavily relies on ancient Jewish interpretive traditions rather than reading the Old Testament strictly literally. The text employs several classic rabbinical hermeneutics rules of interpretation, later codified, later codified by the rabbis, most notably the 7 rules of Hillel. The specific rabbinic hermeneutical methods used in Hebrew 9s include the Kal Vachomer. We went over that one, the Hebrews 9, 13, and 14. But if you go down some more, like right here, the Gezerah Shavah, equivalence of expressions. This is the second rule of Hillel. It connects 2 completely different biblical texts because they share an identical, unique word or phrase. By finding this common linguistic bridge, the interpreter applies the context of one verse to the other. Here it is used, Hebrews 9:12 and 9:24 through 28. The author links the concept of blood from the Day of Atonement rituals with the blood used to inaugurate the covenant in Exodus 24. By establishing this linguistic link, the author argues that Mashiyach's sacrifice simultaneously achieves both. It cleanses the heavenly sanctuary and validates the new covenant. Then you have the Binyan of Mikatuv Ichad, building a prototype from a single building a prototype from a single verse. This rule takes a specific clause or blueprint found in one scripture and uses it as a foundational archetype to explain a broader theological reality. Where it is used, Hebrews 9, 1 through 8. The author uses the single highly detailed historical blueprint of the wilderness tabernacle, its layout, veil, and 2 distinct chambers to construct a cosmic structural prototype. The earthly outer room represents the present temporary age, while the set apart or set aparts represents the eternal heavenly reality that was closed off until Mashiyach entered. Midrashic typology, Mashal u Nishma, type and anti-type. Common in rabbinic midrash, this method treats historical people, objects, or rituals as prophetic symbols, Mashal, pointing to a higher spiritual reality, Nimshal, is used in Hebrews 9:9 and 9:23 through 24. The author explicitly states that the old tabernacle setup was a parable or a copy, a shadow for the present time. The physical earthly sacrifices are treated as prophetic models that mirror the true and heavenly things. Peshat versus Drash, the
Now
literal
they get into
meaning.
part this.
Yeah. The literal meaning versus the homiletical exegesis. Rabbinic thought categorizes scripture into levels of depth. Peshat is the plain contextual meaning, while Darash extracts a deeper applied spiritual lesson. And this is something that even Kasadaba went over last week in his lesson when he talked about exoteric being a Peshat level, and then Darash will be referring to mesoteric. So it's like, okay, so it says it's used in Hebrews 9, 7, 8. The Peshat of Leviticus 16 simply dictates that the high priest enters the Holy of Holies once a year. The author of Hebrews applies a drosh spiritual interpretation to this, arguing that the Holy Spirit, the set apart Ruach's hidden intent behind that annual restriction was to signal that the way into the true heavenly presence of Elohim had not yet been disclosed as long as the physical tent stood.
That's Peshat and Drosh, huh?
Yeah. And these are,
Surface and the deeper meaning, the hidden meaning.
but that's what the whole Brit Kadashah is. The revelation of the deeper meaning of these things. But unless we can go back and use these different interpretation moves, because what it was, it started off with Hillel, and I think he had 7, and then it expands to the Rabbi Ishmael who has 13. But as you read through the Brit Hadashah, you can see all 13 being used. This is just off of one chapter. I just went off that one chapter because this is what we were speaking about with the red heifer and things. But all these rules are applied in the Brit Hadashah. And I just find that to be real interesting. Because look, like it says right here, the Dead Sea Scrolls has a whole Pesher section, which is going into the deeper meaning of the things. So it's like it's not just something that was used rabbinically, it was used amongst all of these right here.
Look what Philo did.
Said that Philo used allegorical style. Hey, we could check it out.
That's big. That's big. So Philo was a convert too, wasn't he? Him and Onkelos. They were guys out of Him.
Okay.
They were guys out of Him, I think.
I didn't know that about Philo. I thought he just lived in Egypt or something like that.
I think he was a Ger. I think he was a Ger Zadik. Do you know about that, Ellie? Wasn't Philo a Ger Zadik?
I'll look it up real fast. He might be out of there now.
I'm out of there. He said, my gas is gone, son.
Was Philo a convert? No, it says he wasn't. He was a Hellenized Jewish philosopher.
Okay, what about Onkelos?
Yeah, Onkelos for sure was. He converted, yeah. Ger Zadik, like you said.
So Philo was just born in Alexandria?
Let's see. Yeah. Yep, he was born into a prominent Jewish family in Alexandria, Egypt, around 20 BCE.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes, he always focused on the logos, the word, and allegorical interpretations of the Torah.
Interesting. He used the logos concept. I wonder if he actually used logos. That's Hellenist. Well, at that time, Egypt was Hellenist. Alexandria, that's named after, the Macedonians. So,
but even Jonathan and his Targums.
Jonathan?
Yeah, Jonathan, he always put the word in the word of, it don't say just the sovereign, it says the word of the sovereign. That's when we were reading through it the last time. When we were reading through Exodus 20, it was all right there. It was saying the word.
Right. So, that's good. That's real good. So that's
I just wanted to share that though before we.
Nah, that's rich, huh? That's real rich. That's rich. This is good. Let's save these 13 rules for Torah interpretation, so we can put some more time in it sometime.
Yeah, especially on Yom Revi'i. If we could apply that to the Brit Hadashah section on Yom Revi'i.
Yeah.
Just to see.
I think that'd be good. But let me ask you all this, because I was talking with Hazun Yahoo earlier today. And one thing I want to do is make sure everybody is able to understand what we're dealing with. And he brings a lot of complex concepts sometimes, and I don't want to go over a lot of people's heads. I think sometimes that happens. But what do you all think about having a more advanced class where we can actually dive into those things, and have that class for those who are interested in that content, as opposed to just applying those things across the board? Because I like to differentiate instruction and try to meet everybody where they are, and not leave people behind, but at the same time, not dumb things down, right? But I think a lot of times some of the concepts he introduces, and some of the things I introduce as well, but I'm learning to measure it better so that the people are able to chew, swallow, and metabolize, what's being put on our plates. Yeah. What do y'all think about that, though?
That'll work.
I don't know what day yet,
Okay.
or how often we can get into a more advanced class. But that's
Would
something that
Sundays be
I'm
good?
considering. It's
First
something
day?
to consider. It'd
Yeah.
have to be somewhere earlier. Um, it'd have to be earlier.
Like a midday.
Yeah, late morning, midday. I would want to do it probably like
Oh,
11.
because you have your first
I got
Sunday.
other things moving on. And I got that. Yeah, I got that too. And it may be just twice a month. It may be twice a month. We may do it opposite months, because opposite week. Because I got the first Rishon. I got the second Rishon as well with Mbuff. I've actually been nominated to be secretary for the National Black United Front KC chapter. So I got a little more involvement with that. And then the fourth Sunday is Liberation Forum, where it's an open forum. So the second Rishon is membership, and the fourth Rishon is community forum. So maybe the third Rishon of the month, maybe we just do a class monthly, an advanced class monthly. Maybe
Okay.
we just do it monthly. Just food for thought, because my plate, my plate can be kind of full. I don't want to just push myself over the top, but we may do that just to have an advanced class once a month.
Okay. I'll be looking forward to that.
We'll keep that private in the sense that I won't out record it, but it'll be recorded in the private sense. It won't just be open.
Okay. That
Because I
works.
think sometimes it just gets a little too dense. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that dense where it's just like, what are you talking about? Right?
Yeah. Meat versus
Lot,
milk.
yeah, because if people come in, we start hearing that stuff. Because these courses here, there's going to be some complex concepts, and we're going to try to take time to break it down. But definitely, we want to make sure we're able to keep people plugged in and in tune. You know what I mean? We don't want to just lose them.
Yeah.
I think that's happened a lot, honestly. I think people who have come in and who have left is because it gets too dense.
Yeah. That's wise too, though. Because just as with the whole Kabbalah from Sinai, everything was revealed to everybody. So I think it's wise
Exactly.
to do it.
And then that's something that people don't really know. And so they're like, y'all bugging. I don't know what y'all talking about. Y'all on some witchcraft.
You never see him again, huh?
Ever. Like, yeah, I'm good. Like, where y'all go? Y'all should come through every week. Where y'all at now?
Yeah. And that's what I had liked about what Kasada had brought up with that exoteric and esoteric. Because what we all need is the exoteric. We need something that we all could apply together as a community.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point. Because you're gonna run people off, man. People, I mean, to be a mystic, and I think people really misunderstand that concept. To be a mystic is you're initiated into the mysteries to understand what the deeper meaning, the inner meaning is about. And plus, you are also one who is going within with your meditations and everything like that, and you're bringing these things out. And that's what I'm learning. Everything I'm learning, I'm not sharing everything I'm learning, because some things are just really, honestly, for me to walk, make sure I'm living my life. I used to be one who would learn something and be like, oh, I got to share this, but I'm not like that anymore. Just because I learned something doesn't mean I have to initially share it, especially if I don't understand it all the way and I'm not practicing it. So that's the challenge of really having an effective pedagogy, is that you first and foremost are modeling everything. That's why I had to step down some years ago, because I was like, ooh, I'm not there. I used to be like, don't call me Moray. Just call me Brother Michael. Because I was like, I wasn't in order. There it is. So we got to make sure everything's in order.
Yeah. And now that definitely is I agree with that. I think it's wise and yeah.
So we can look at like the
it's
third
that balance.
Rishon.
Third
Saying
Rishon. I said just that balance in it. balancing that thing. The beauty comes from the balance. You can't have Tiferet without balance.
Yes, sir. That middle pillar, bro. That middle pillar.
Yeah. Could you also put the content's Torah?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Well, let's do this. Let's wrap this up. We'll close out with the Birkat Kohanim, and then we'll go forward from there. So, Ruach HaTefilah. Hallelujah. 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 V'hayidabar Yahweh Moshe li'amor דבר אל אהרון ואת בניו ואומר כה תברכו את בני ישראל אמור ויברכך יחוה וישמרך
Can't get out of his own.
יאר יחוה פניו אליך ויהונך
Can't get out of his own.
יישא יחוה פניו אליך וישים לך שלום.
Can't get out of his own.
שמו את שמי אל בני ישראל ואני אברכם. Yah spoke to Moshe. Speak to Aaron and his sons. Thus shall you bless the people of Israel. Say to them, Yah bless you and protect you.
May it be his will.
Yah deal kindly and compassionately with you.
May it be his will.
Yah bestow favor upon you and grant you shalom.
May it be his will.
Thus they shall link my name with the people of Israel, and I will bless them. Hallelujah. Selah. Amen.
Yeah.
All right. Shabbat Erev Shalom, Mishpacha. We will reconvene tomorrow 1 p.m. Parcha Beha Alotecha. Vision plus the work of the menorah equals manifestation of primordial light. That's the mathematics for tomorrow. It's going to be heavy.
Yeah.
I pray y'all have a good rest of your night, though. Achad, Shabbat Erev Shalom.